So Gary Yourofsky is a vegan animal liberation activist and educator. He's been banned from entering 5 countries. He's been arrested 13 times in a clear and unapologetic display of defiance of the unjust laws that oppress animals. As of January 2015, Gary Yourofsky has given 2,660 lectures to more than 60,000 people at 186 schools. His speeches have garnered tens of millions of views online. His social media has skyrocketed to hundreds of thousands of followers in less than 2 years, making Gary Yourofsky undeniably one of the most, if not the most, prolific and famous classroom lecturers and educators in the history of the vegan animal rights movement. His influence on the contemporary animal rights movement cannot be overstated. He has influenced in one way or another an entire generation of activists in his wake who have gone on to make a huge impact, including myself. Now, Gary is back after 8 years of retirement. So Gary, thank you for sitting here with me today, but most of all, thank you for everything you have done and sacrificed for the animals. The animals were here. If they knew what you had put yourself through for them, they would thank you dearly.
You'll make me cry, man. Listen, the universe called me on this mission. I listened. I did what I had to do. I made promises to a bunch of animals back in the 90s that I would tell everybody about their plight, their situation. I told them I would give my life for them. And even though I'm sitting here with you right now, I died inside a long time ago. I'm still going on for them. And that's why I'm back in action right now. I did have to take a break. The stress, the PTSD, I was in the trenches way too long. I don't regret it. I don't take it back again. I made that promise, and I'm a man that keeps my promises. It was just a lot to deal with. Insomnia too. For 25 years, I've probably slept 2 hours a night. If I get to 4 hours a night, it's a fucking miracle, and I'm thrilled, which I got last night. I'm really excited. But, you know, lack of sleep and stress is a lot for a body to handle. And I just needed to back off and find some peace of mind. A lot of people falsely claim that I'm arrogant. And it's weird to me because I was always the last person I ever thought about when I did my activism. In fact, when I did the mink liberation in 1997, the first time I thought about myself was when they closed the cell door. And I'm sitting in this bed in this 6 by 12 foot cell going, wow, what the fuck have I done? Where am I at? Holy shit. That was the first time during that whole mink liberation saga that I thought about myself. But I remember telling the judge, and by the way, the best speech I ever gave in my life is a speech that only a couple dozen people.
I want to get to that, brother. You are going to the places in this interview that you were there.
Okay.
This is great because you just honestly have, these are the things I exactly want to ask you.
Okay.
I would just like to go back to the beginning before you do, because that is, like, I know hearing what I just read to you probably like brought up a lot of things. Sure. Like I know that's a pretty heavy like paragraph what I've read, and like I tried to really that small paragraph doesn't really do your life's work any justice, because like these are just words, but it was the experiences you went through. Like 20 years is a long time, and you've still been doing things in the background. That's a long, because it's not necessarily the length of time, because you could do 50 years easy. You did 20 years hard as you could. That's a difference, and that's what I like to get across to people. This is really putting yourself out there, a lot of pressure on your shoulders, a lot of criticism from everywhere, even your own movement, and that's going to take a toll on anyone. Like,
yeah, and I take that word activist sacred. It's active. So the reason why I said I've been retired for the last 8 to 10, maybe 11 years is, to me, I wasn't active, even though I was helping butterflies and I was helping some skunks and I was helping Sasha Farm Animal Sanctuary. In my mind, that wasn't the activism that I was used to on the street corner, in the classroom, and in the jailhouse.
Yeah.
So that's why I took that moniker out of my title for the last, 10 years or so.
I would like to take it back to the start of your journey and give people like a bit of an idea who you are and your journey, and then I would like to focus on why you were back. So a lot of people don't know where you were born, like what it was like growing up and where you went to school and things like that. So if you could like talk about your early years growing up.
I was just a normal kid growing up, wanted to be a hockey goalie at first. I played hockey till I was 13. Then I wanted to be a rock star, played guitar for 18 years. I remember when I was 13, I had made a deal with my mom that if she lent me $2,000 for a Jackson guitar that I wanted so badly, I would work as a busboy at a restaurant that whole summer and pay her back, and I did. So I really wanted to go that route. And as you probably know, I also wanted to be a rapper. I actually did a demo in 1992, a 3-song demo. You can find a couple of those songs online right now, Declaration of Misrepresentation. You maintain the rights of a minority, but when the government's ruled by the majority. It was an anti-racist rap, by the way, so that's where I started with that as well, with my activism, with my concern for others.
You're an activist, you're rebellious, you don't listen to rules if you find them like unjust, but was there any part of that character in you in school?
I have a lifelong authority complex. I did not like principals. I did not like the teachers who wanted to tell me what to do. So this kind of goes hand in hand with my activism, how I fought with the cops and I fought with the judges and the whole illegal system, legal system. So yeah, I always had that issue with society's rules. I never liked the way things were set up. And the more I thought about it over the years, the more I realized what everybody is doing is usually wrong, especially when it comes to social justice. I've never heard about a situation where the majority of people have been on the right side of a social justice issue, always been a small group of people trying to explain to the larger group, hey, wait, what are you doing to these beings? What are you doing over here? In fact, I believe the principal at Berkeley High School, Miss Jackson, she was the vice principal, my mom's number was on speed dial. I was in the office nearly every single day getting in trouble. I remember a couple of teachers too, you know how they would say if you were talking in class, you want to come up here and teach the class? And I would say, yeah, actually I do. Miss Jansen, my English teacher, used to do that. And she was so upset because I went up and I would actually teach the class as well as she would, and she'd be in the back. Only Yourofsky could actually pull this off. And then, so yeah, Berkeley High School is where I went to high school. I went to Wayne State University only for a semester because they required math. And I hate math, I hate numbers, I'm a wordsmith. And I ended up transferring to Oakland.
Right, but no, there's a story there, though, isn't there? Like you didn't go to any maths classes, and didn't you challenge the principal not to?
Oh, it's
graduate?
true. That's an interesting story. So at Berkeley High, you were able to sign up for your own classes. They told you what you were supposed to take eventually, and you had to do all this. So I never signed up for any math classes in the 4 years. And then they brought me into the office a couple weeks before graduation, 1988. And they said, Miss Jackson said, Gary, you didn't sign up for any math classes for the last 4 years. I said, yeah, but look at all the extra English classes that I took. Well, you need math classes. I said, well, I'm not taking them, but if you want to keep me here for another year, be my guest. And she looks at me like, I do not want this guy in my office every day. And she signs the paper. I swear, she's like, get the hell out of here. Get out of here now. I'm like, thanks.
There you go.
Now, as much as a troublemaker as I was, you still didn't hate me. You still liked me. You still thought I was goofy and cute. I mean, as I sit here now and you hear about Gary's a terrorist or Gary's this, are you really scared of me? I mean, do I really frighten anybody? So I'm just opinionated. I'm dogmatic. I have a position. I don't want to bend. So yeah, I got through Berkeley High without doing any math. So then I transferred from Wayne State because of the math stuff. So I transferred to Oakland University, also in Michigan, where they let me take computer instead of math, computer classes. That was a problem too. It took me 7.5 years to graduate. I quit 3 times. I didn't like the rules. Especially, see, I found out about animal rights in the mid-90s while I was in college. So, of course, I'm majoring in journalism. All of my articles that I'm writing about are about animals. So now the professors start complaining, some of them. They tell Jane Briggs Bunting, who was the dean of journalism, what's going on, and she brings me to her office and says, you're banned about writing about animal rights. I said, are you out of your fucking mind? No, I'm not. That's what I'm writing about. She goes, no, you're biased. You're a biased reporter. I said, you're a biased reporter. Because when the circus comes to town, I write about how cruel it is for the animals, and you write about how fun it is. You're just as biased as I am. I'll take the bias, moniker as long as you accept it too. You're living in fantasy land. We all have our biases. So she fought with me on this. In fact, we didn't agree to anything that day in the office. Went back, wrote about animal rights. She would actually come to my classes and say, did Gary write a story about animal rights? And she'd take the paper and put an F on it. And I said, hey, we can battle all day long. You're not gonna beat me. It is a losing battle. Finally, she ended up giving up and said, okay, let him write whatever he wants to write. So, but I didn't like school, and I didn't understand why you needed this piece of paper to prove yourself in our society. But I was told get your degree, you'll go further. I don't believe my journalism degree helped me in any way, even though I write articles. I couldn't tell you the parts of speech, of words. I look at it. This is how my crazy brain works. I just see something, how it should be written. But I really can't tell you the parts of speech and what should go where, what predicate is this. I don't even know what that stuff is. I'm kind of like Jimi Hendrix when he plays guitar. He never knew how to read music. He just jammed out, and look how great his stuff was. This is all from my heart. I mean, if we were sitting here and you say, Gary, can you tell me about if taxes are too high in America? Or what about the healthcare system? I would stumble through it. I wouldn't know what to say. But if you ask me about what animals are going through, well, wait a second, I got something to tell you. I've seen their pain. I've felt their pain. So this is all pouring out of me because I have empathy, because this is what I was put here to do. So this is why I'm such a good speaker in front of crowds and in front of the camera.
Well, let's talk about your vegan beginnings, like where you think the roots of that. I mean, you did touch on it just there, where you started learning about animals in school, and so you started talking about animals in circuses and things like that.
The elephant that I saw at the Shrine Circus, my stepdad is a clown. He passed away, by the way, about 2 years ago, and God bless Myron, because he created me. He invites me backstage to see the elephants at the circus. Who doesn't want to see the elephants? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to see the elephants. Really? I can go see the elephants? And I was with my girlfriend, Wendy, at the time, and we were playfully pushing each other. I'm first. We're running backstage and giggling until we got backstage. I'm no wildlife biologist. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not a philosopher either, but I'm aware. And I sense nothing but sadness in all these creatures that were back there, especially the elephants, who were these massive 2,000-pound creatures, front left feet, back right feet, chained in the cement floor, the Michigan State Fairgrounds warehouse. I turned to Wendy, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I don't know. I remember seeing some monkeys and screaming in their cages and tigers pacing, and our laughter, turned to sadness instantly, and we walked back out solemnly for the rest of the show. And we only sat there until the bears came out wearing yellow tutus and riding tricycles. And I looked at Wendy and said, let's get the hell out of here. That was the day Gary was born as an activist. Of course, I didn't go full-fledged, but that was what awakened me. Something is going on. I thought I was an animal lover. I always said I'm an animal lover. Well, what it really meant was I'm a dog lover, cat lover, squirrels, bunny rabbits, penguins. All the animals that we actually don't exploit in this part of the world, at least. And it's easy to love animals when you're not eating those animals and wearing those animals' skins. So I actually started talking about circuses at the gym where I was working out, Powerhouse Gym in Centerline. And I would always talk about those elephants. And a couple guys started saying, you know what, Gary, I'm sick of hearing about the elephants in the circus, you hypocrite. You eat dead cows and dead pigs. Little did they know the seeds that they were planting, because they were right. For anyone out there who thinks you're an animal lover, you're still eating animals, bullshit. So they kept calling me out, and I kept thinking more and more. But I want everyone to know I was as stubborn as they come. This is why I think I worked so well with audiences. I knew what they were thinking. I knew how hard the transition was. I knew how difficult it was to look in the mirror and say, I was wrong. Self-condemnation is a hard thing, but I don't know why we all can't eventually do it. Make amends. That's all you can do. You can't know everything. No one's a genius from birth. So the moment I'm not sure if people know this story. So now I'm going to fast forward to 1995, the Detroit Red Wings hockey team. They have this horrible tradition, they still do it, of throwing dead octopuses on the ice. It started in the 1950s or 60s. Some schmuck throws an octopus on the ice. The 8 tentacles, supposed to signify the 8 wins it took to win the Stanley Cup championship. Okay, this is outrageous for many reasons. Number one, first and foremost, we're murdering octopuses just to have fun. But second of all, in the 1990s, it's no longer 8 wins to win the Stanley Cup, it's 16 wins. So it doesn't even mean what the original people wanted it to mean anymore. But the fans in Detroit didn't care, the Red Wings didn't care. In fact, they were promoting it with octopus paraphernalia, hats and t-shirts and jackets. The Detroit Free Press, our newspaper, or the Detroit News, or both of them used to do an octometer where they ranked the performance of the players. So they were pushing it. They were pushing it so much that they were throwing 50 to 100 octopuses on the ice each night during the playoffs. I went and found out where they were coming from, Superior Fish Company in Royal Oak. And this is how bad marine animals got it. We don't know exactly how many octopuses were murdered because they're not important enough to count individually. We weigh them. So all I can tell you was during that first month of the playoffs, they sold 4,000 pounds of octopuses. So I called up a radio station, WDFN. I still remember Greg Henson also created me too. He was the host. I get on the air. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm not even vegetarian yet, let alone vegan. I get on the air, I'm screaming, Detroit Tigers going to throw dead tigers on the field. San Jose Sharks going to throw dead sharks on the field. Every sports team I could think of that has an animal mascot, I'm saying, are they going to throw this dead animal on the ice? He interrupts me and says, Gary, hold on. What'd you have for dinner last night? I knew what he meant because I'd been avoiding it. I want everybody to know right now, I am not a liar. In fact, the truth I speak gets me in trouble. You know the haters I got out there because I speak my mind. I'll talk about anything how I feel. And the truth that I speak gets me in trouble. Well, guess who decided to lie the first time? And to show you how idiotic I was as a meat eater, what did I think vegetarians and vegans ate? Salad. I said, salad. Well, to Greg's, props to Greg, he actually says, well, okay, continue. Guilt, instant guilt. Oh my God, he believed me. So as I'm going on and on about how outrageous this is, he lets me go on for nearly 2 minutes. That's a lot of time on the air, uninterrupted. In fact, as I was winding down, he says to me, is there anything else you'd like to add? Oh my God, he believed me. He really fell for this. I can't believe I just lied and he bought it. And I remember saying, no, Greg, that's it. Thanks a lot. As I'm taking the phone off my ear, I look at the phone, I say, that is the shortest lived lie ever. I'm done. It's not a lie anymore. Never ate another piece of meat at that point. He made me vegetarian. Now, like most vegetarians, I wasn't aware about how insanely cruel the dairy industry was and the egg industry, stealing baby cows from their mothers, grinding up male chicks because they don't lay eggs while they're fully conscious. They get ground up. So now I want to learn more. I need to gather information. I know this is the right thing, but I want to know exactly why. Can't find one friend or family member to go with me to Washington, D.C. in 1996 to the big Animal Rights March. I go down there by myself. I'm so excited, I actually show up 2 days early. Nobody's there. I'm just hanging around. I'm like, okay, I thought there were going to be people early. I'm just waiting for people. Finally, I'm sitting in the lobby, a group of people from Texas. How do I know this? They came in, about 20 people, Texans for animal rights. I jump up, I run up, hey, I'm Gary from Michigan, how you guys doing? Hey, Gary, how you doing? Where can we get a good veggie burger? Oh man, the Hard Rock Cafe right down the street. I was just there, great veggie burger. But that's not vegan. So, what do you think happens to mother cows when they can't give milk anymore? Oh. I'm reciting this for a reason because I didn't know and I didn't fight. I hate when people fight when we tell them the truth or come up with stupid excuses. I didn't know when they told me, and I said one syllable. Oh. Didn't realize. Vegan. So 1996 is when I became vegan. In fact, in July right now, this marks my 29th year of veganism. So thankful for those people from Texas that just all they had to say was, what do you think happens to mama cows when they can't give milk? And it's really that simple. So.
Your journey kind of become the blueprint for your activism going forward, because I know that this is the way that you educate others. Yeah. First, you hold them accountable, the hypocrisy, this guy on the radio station, then you hope that they have some internal conflict there, and then you hit them with the education, which you were out there, you were looking for knowledge, but obviously like these days it's everywhere. Back then, harder to find, right?
There was no internet, by the way, when I started, just so everybody knows. I'm ancient. No internet, literally none, didn't exist.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So when was the first time like you saw a factory farm for yourself? Or have you ever been inside of a facility where they...
I've been in a lot. A lot of the footage I used to show, I actually went myself and got.
I didn't know that. Tell us about your first time or one of your most profound experiences inside of one of these hellholes.
It's funny, I'd like to tell you about my last time more than anything, because I almost never get to tell this story because it brings tears. We'll see if we can get through it. This is, I've already gathered enough footage, and there's enough footage out there I use just to mix into all my slaughterhouse videos. About 12 to 15 minutes into every speech I ended up giving, I would show about a 5-minute slaughterhouse clip. I'm in Manchester, Michigan, which is where Sasha Farm is located. On the way to Sasha Farm, there's actually an auction house. I decided to go in there, and it's a public place. I didn't even have to sneak in like I used to in other times. I went backstage, and I'm filming 2 sheep and 2 cows, and they're marked with paint, blue paint stripes representing the males and pink stripes representing the females, the obscene things that we do to them that most people have no idea about. And I'm filming them, and for the first time in all the years that I went and did all my shit from my mink liberation to this, the animals always knew I was the good guy. That day they didn't. And they backed up in their stall as far as they could, and they were shivering. And I'm trying to talk to them, even though I'm too stupid to speak animal languages, because they have languages, but we're all too fucking stupid to understand, myself included. And I'm trying to let them know, no, wait, I'm going to show people what you're going through. Don't be scared of me. I'm not one of those guys. But all they did was turn in fear and shiver as if they were saying, what the fuck are you going to cut off of me now? Where are you taking me now? And I couldn't go there anymore. I've only told this story about 4 or 5 times. And if anybody wonders why vegans become so angry or militant, me included, well, that's fucking why. Because we do everything in our power not to be a devil. And all they saw was a 2-legged devil. And I wasn't. And again, this is why the anger builds up sometimes and you feel the wrath of vegans.
There's pain under there.
It's, I even, the other times I told this, I did this to try to subdue students who were so out of control. And when I say how much I despise humans and we're an evil species, these are the moments where my thoughts were born, because it didn't even work with them. It worked with the rest of the crowd. They were in tears too, couldn't believe it. And the defiant ones were just, I don't care. That's why they're here. And in my head, I'm going, I can't believe that story didn't work with these people. How evil can you be? Even if you weren't going to change, how could you at least not back down and stop fighting with me and say, all right, man, I see what you're saying. I mean, they just kept coming at me. It's just so outrageous. So that was the last time I said, I just can't take it anymore. In fact, I'm at a point in my life, I can't take death anymore. The last dog I had, Doyle, passed away about 6 years ago. And I refused to bring another dog into my life. This has led to battles with Eric and I, and we broke up, by the way, last August after 15 years. Still great friends, but every day it was a little battle. Can we go rescue a dog? I said, no. The next time a dog dies in front of me, I'm going to shoot myself in the head. Is this what you want? I cannot, and I know it's not healthy. This is why I mentioned the PTSD earlier. I believe I have this. I cannot handle death. Now, I love all the critters I have in my backyard. I make my backyard a haven for them. There's about 5 or 6 bunny rabbits living in there this year. In fact, baby bunnies. I never saw baby bunnies until this year. There were 2 of them in the backyard. I got squirrels. I got 2 bird baths. I change the bird baths sometimes 7, 8 times a day. I want them to have fresh water. There's about 20 or 30 birds that are always hanging out. There's a groundhog back there. There's a rat. He walked past me last year. I'm standing there. We thought there was one back there. And I'm standing there. He literally saunters right by me slowly. And I remember looking down and going, you picked the right yard, buddy, to hang out in. You're welcome here too. Everyone's welcome in my yard. So I love all the critters in my backyard. I just can't get overly attached to any. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't helped dogs over the years. People say, Gary, here's a dog that needs a home. I'm like, I'll just go find him a home somewhere else. Yeah. So don't act like Gary. Gary's not saving dogs. I just can't bring it into my life. And I know it's not healthy. I know that I can't deal with death is something I probably need to deal with. I don't want to deal with that end anymore. And Doyle died in front of me and Erica. He had a heart attack and dropped dead in front of us. And I can't get this image out of my head. And I know I'm supposed to think about the good times. And we're always supposed to do that too, even with our human companions that have passed. And I can't help but think to that moment when it happened, and it just wasn't supposed to happen that way.
You can't really control death, and it's inevitable, and it's the painful part about it is that when the being is sentient, that sentient experience is going to end. And if someone is killing that sentient being, you have power to try to go out there and do something about it, which is what you did for a long, long, long time. But with natural death, that is an inevitable part of life that you can't control or do something about. So who are you supposed to advocate to for that?
I don't know. I know. And he was 15 years old. It was a long, healthy life. In fact, we gave him a second chance, like most of the vegans in the movement. I had a friend, Marie Sklad from Michigan Humane Society, calls me, or Michigan Animal Adoption Network. I think she worked with both. She says to me, I happened to call her. I said, you got any old dogs that need a home? I love old dogs, by the way. She goes, oh my God, somebody dropped off a 10-year-old black lab today, said they didn't want him anymore. I said, okay, hang on. Give me 2 hours. I got to go buy a new bed and some doggy bowls. I'll be there and I'm going to get him. And he lived a great last 5 years, and as a vegan, by the way. And let me throw this out there. My last 2 dogs, Rex and Doyle, lived till they were 15, both as vegans. My meat-eating dogs, when I was growing up, died when they were 9, 10, and 11. Personal epidemiological study. Veganism is better for the dogs, too.
I want to talk about your arrest. You're arrested 13 times for what you say are random acts of kindness to animals. Objectively, they are, of course. What I thought was kind of crazy about this is that most of your arrests, well, literally all of them, other than the mink arrest, happened after the mink arrest, which you were on trial for, which ultimately led to you going to prison. Like, no, there's one thing getting arrested. There's one thing facing trial and possible prison and then getting arrested another 12 times after that. Because usually people will be like, I better not get arrested again. Your lawyer's like, what are you doing? So that's a thing that I haven't heard you mention that you got arrested most of the times after your main arrest that led you to prison, but I thought that was pretty gutsy.
So people think I'm radical now. You didn't know radical Gary unless you were around in the 90s. I didn't give a fuck about going to jail, getting shot, anything. The police, the court system did not know how to handle me because, as you pointed out, there's the threat. You're going to go to jail, or you're going to be put on probation, or whatever. I'm going to shoot you because my gun is drawn. And what do you do when somebody says, I don't give a shit? Shoot me. I don't care. Take me to jail. When I get out, I'm going to come back and do the same thing again. Then what? Or I would defy judges. I would interrupt judges, and my attorneys always said, I'd never seen anyone interrupt a judge and have the judge actually listen. I said, I'm not interrupting to be a dick. I'm making a point. So of course they listen. And I was so articulate when I wanted to say something, they had to pay attention. So it was, the 90s were a crazy time. Even when I look back, I'm like, man, I was so radical, so radically focused.
Like, you were chaining your neck to things to make them make a statement like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's defiance. Take us like to the beginning of this mink liberation and like what led to it, and then take us in. Like, you're walking in, you're about, like, it'd be great to get a good paint that picture.
Okay. So there's actually Hilma Ruby, who was one of my close allies. Dear friend, if you're out there, Hilma, I still love you. We haven't talked in a long time. There were 5 of us. Only Hilma and I stayed true to the cause. The other 3 ended up turning state's evidence and saving their own asses and actually turning me in. So Hilma actually was the one who planned this, which is hysterical because everybody thinks it was me. I was a newbie back then. I was still new to the game. She knew where this mink farm was. So when we organized it and who was going to do what, I had the job of opening up the cages. Hilma was going to spray paint ALF on the 5 sheds at this mink farm. Alan and Robin were cutting holes in the perimeter fence so the mink can find their way across the field, right across this dirt road, by the way, 600 acres of fields. That's all they had to do was get out. Keep in mind, I can't lift 1,542 creatures to safety, but I can give them a chance. Open up the cage. Same thing with humans. I can't take that many, but you would want me to come by that night if you were about to be killed, have your neck broken, and say, just open up the cage, give me a chance. And that's what I did that night. And then when they got done opening up cutting holes in the perimeter fence, they were supposed to come and help me finish opening up the cages. So, and Pat was the driver. Now, the reason most people don't know what went wrong that night was Pat, she was supposed to drop us off at 2, which she did. We found a place back in town, 15 minutes away, a bar. Go park at the bar, go inside the bar, I don't care. Come back at 3. We timed it down to an hour. That's all we needed. Well, she was driving up and down the dirt road in Blenheim, Ontario. She wanted to see what was going on. Well, even though it was a rural area, and there were very few houses, there were some houses. And some guy calls the police and says, there's a strange van driving up and down the road at 2:30 in the morning. So the cops actually show up and stop her. Now, Canadian cops are really cool, by the way. Much love to them. They actually followed protocol and said, what's going on? What are you doing? And Pat lied and said she was lost. They said, well, okay. Turn around. Get to the 401, and once you go up there, make a left and make a right. So they follow her, let her go, turn their lights off, and what does Pat do? After 2 minutes, she turns around. So now they flip their lights on and say, what's the hell's going on? We told you where to go. We knew something was up. Now we want to, go inside the van. So they start looking in the van. There's ski masks, there's bolt cutters there, there's other stuff there. So they realize now something's going on. Now, I realized something was going on. I'm in the 5th shed. Last shed, I'm opening up cage by cage by cage. And in fact, I had such a pattern going like this, cage, cage, cage. My triceps were hurting. It ended up being a tricep workout, but I couldn't stop for them, right? I'm opening up cage after cage. And I remember there was one cage I couldn't get open. The lock was stuck, whatever. I just couldn't get it. I passed it and I kept going down and down. And I'm looking back like, oh my God, they must be thinking, how could you leave me? And I went back and I just kicked the hell out of that fucking cage and broke it open. I'm like, okay, guys, you can get out too. And there was a moment I was warned in advance, they're carnivores, they're going to attack you. And I remember opening up one cage and a mink dove out, landed on my chest. Swear to God. He was up on his hind legs because I leaned back in kind of in attack mode. And I remember just going like this and looking at him. And I swear he did the head tilt that animals do, like checking me out. And he jumped off and I remember going, he knew who I was. Of course he did. I'm the liberator. He's not going to attack me. And I remember these 1,500 minks just looking for the exit, not looking to attack. And a symphony of screams, of joy and freedom that that had rang out that night. Like, oh my God, we're out of these cages. I'm just like, go. So Robin shows up in the shed and she starts helping me, but I see headlights outside. I said, wait a second, hold on. And I go and I peek out front and I see 2 cars down the street talking to each other. I'm like, oh man, this isn't good. Something's going on. This is not good. And all of a sudden I hear, hey, motherfucker, stop right there. So the mink farmers were in the shed now. They knew, they had heard the symphony of joy from the liberated mink. So I grabbed Robin by her shoulder and I said, follow me. And I start running and I'm holding her shoulder, but I can't hold her shoulder for the whole time. I assume she's going to be behind me. I run out. I jump over a fence. I'm not an acrobat, but in the moment of adrenaline, I jumped, I dove, rolled, didn't miss a beat, ran into the field. I look around and there's no Robin. And I later found out that she froze. Mink farmers grabbed her. I'm worried the whole time thinking, are they beating her up? Are they raping her? And I'm just like, fuck. But we had an agreement going in. Whoever gets away, gets away. We knew what the risk was. We're going to jail. We're willing to give our freedom for these mink. In fact, all 5 of us had to drive separately to the meeting point that night so nobody could say they were coerced into going there. In fact, my uncle was one of them, Alan. He was an hour late. We almost just lost. I said, he's not showing up, let's go. And then he pulls up. I'm bringing this up too because later on in the court trial, he claimed that he was coerced. Like, that's why you had to drive separately. So anyways, actually, so now I'm in the field and I'm ducking down. I'm about 50 feet in the field. Cops are out, lights are out, the dogs are out sniffing. I'm like, oh man. All of a sudden I hear some rumbling going on. And I'm like, oh shit, somebody's in this field. And I just go, I'm taking a guess. I'm like, Alan. He's like, yeah. So my uncle did get away too. Robin was apprehended, Pat was arrested in the car, and Hilma was apprehended on the property. So Alan and I end up on our, like a soldier, on our stomachs. We go through the field. I mean, it must have been 2 miles back to town, and they never found us. Crawled our way back to town. Now, big mistake. So there's always a comical aspect to all the crazy shit I do. So we get back to town, and I realize I took my wallet out and put it in the car because I said, well, what if I drop my wallet? Then they'll find my ID. Well, I had no money. We had nothing. Here we are at a convenience store, an all-night 24-hour store. I'm like, well, now what? What do we do? So I'm very persuasive. I asked the store manager to call a taxi. He calls a taxi. Taxi shows up. I said, let me take this. I walk up to the taxi guy. I say, listen, I don't have any money, but I'm a VIP at the Windsor Casino. If you get me to the Windsor Casino, I will give you $500. This is all true, by the way. This is not a lie. I say, give me to the casino. I will give you $500 if you take us back. And then I pulled the Jesus card. In the name of Jesus, can you please do this? We are lost. We don't know where we're at. Can you please take us back to town in the name of Jesus? I assumed he would turn down a Jesus plea. And sure enough, he looks at me. He's like, all right, get in the car. So we get in the car and we're driving back. I got to tell you, I'm worried to death about everyone else, but I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we got away. This is crazy. We're about an hour away. Now, the guy in the taxi driver was talking on the phone about 10 minutes in. We find out later at the court hearing. We're in such a small town. There's only one taxi driver in this town. So when the police finally showed up at the convenience store and asked the manager, anything strange going on tonight? I said, yeah, there were 2 guys that just asked for a taxi and they looked really lost and confused. One guy seemed to smell like mink shit, animal shit. So the cops were talking to the taxi driver, trying to find out the location, and the questions were something like this. Are you afraid? No. And then everything was yes or no. Are they armed? No. Are they threatening you? No. Okay. You're on the 401 highway? Yes. Okay, we're coming up behind you. And all of a sudden, about 45 minutes, hour in, all of a sudden the lights go on. And my heart just goes, oh no, they got me. And at that point, there's no more defiance. Come out, hands up. They had their guns. I'm like, okay, guys. All right, you got. And they were very nice and cordial too, even at that point, once we said, all right, and they cuffed us and brought us in. So that was quite an experience too. And they held us for 10 days on a bail hearing, which is insane. Because I don't think a child molester, rapist, or a murderer has ever been held for a bail hearing. It's not 10 days. I mean, you might be denied bail, but they didn't want to give us bail because they thought we would go back to Michigan, never go back to Canada. There's no extradition for mink liberations, so they didn't know what to do with us. On day 10, Robin was the first one to turn state's evidence. She gave a statement to the court. She was my best animal rights friend at the time. I didn't believe what was going on. I remember my attorney, Steve Rogan, says to me, they took a court recess and said, just so you know, they're making a decision today. I know this has been 10 days and we've been telling today's the day. Robin's giving a statement. They're letting her walk on $10,000 bail. You guys are being denied. And I remember screaming, bullshit. Robin is solid. I don't know where the fuck you're getting your information. Gary, I'm just telling you what I know. I just talked to the chronic. Shut up, Steve. Shut up and don't say anything bad about Robin. She's like me. I said, okay. So they bring us back to the court. They put us in the little defendant's box. There's 4 of us now. There's no Robin. I'm starting to go, oh boy. All of a sudden, Robin comes in, walks in, head down. Now, she's got to walk by me and sit here. This was her seat. So I'm trying to look at her. She's coming through. She's got her head down, and I'm looking like this, and she won't look at me.
Confirmation there.
She sits down. Judge comes in, reads her statement. Gary did this, and Alan did this, and Hilma organized it. And she was saying shit like wasn't even about the mink liberation. Oh, and 2 months ago, Gary and I went and fucking broke some windows at this place, at McDonald's, and we spray painted. I'm like, why don't you just fucking tell them everything we've ever done? What does that have to do with the mink liberation? So she gets up and leaves. It was crazy. But my attorney was great. He stands up and he says, you can't give one person bail when all 5 are charged with the same crime just because she cooperated. They had a right not to cooperate and remain silent. You have to give them all the same amount of bail. So the judge ended up giving us all this $10,000 bail. And then the trial goes on for 2 years. So this is 97. Fast forward 2 years later, 99.
97. Right, so it goes for 2 years.
2-year trial.
Before we get to your sentencing, because before we go there, you did a lot of things before your sentencing, and that's where I was trying to say.
This is where the bulk of all my arrests happened in between.
Yeah, so did your lawyer tell you, like, this is a pretty serious charge, like, this is, like, you're facing, like, this trials, you could probably be looking at prison time, right?
Yeah. He ended up saying it was going to be around 3 years.
And then you went, fuck you, I'm still
Again,
going.
You didn't know how radical, how much I didn't care. And yeah, and now keep in mind, that was Canada. I'm from Michigan, so I am out of the jurisdiction. I don't think that would have stopped me, even if I was in the jurisdiction. But yeah, and then I can tell you about the first arrest in America, which has a great comical aspect to it too.
Yeah, like he wanted to say something about you locking your neck to vehicles and that. But go, whatever you.
Yeah, so we had heard it was a great tactic. You chain your neck to the rear wheel axle of your car, because then they can't move your car without breaking your neck. And it took the police anywhere from 45 minutes to 3 hours to figure out how to cut somebody loose. And then I thought media was valuable, something interesting. I don't think it's valuable anymore, but we wanted to get on the news. Only way to get on the news about animal rights back then was to do something outrageous. So we were going to do this civil disobedience. And opening night, Shrine Circus, Michigan State Fairgrounds, for a reason. That's where I discovered everything. So I was going to use my car and block and diagonal my car as I pulled into the main entranceway and block the entranceway. Jump out, chain my neck, and my friend T.U. Rubin, she was in the passenger seat, and she was going to chain her neck to the door frame of the passenger door. So we leaked it to the media. Well, it got leaked back to the police because as we did our drive-by, there's 12 cops standing in the entranceway. And I remember as I passed slowly past the 6 or 7 protesters, my friend Marie mouths to me, do it now. The media's here. They're going to leave. Do it now. I remember going, there's 12 cops there. What do you mean? So I did a drive-by, and then I turned to TU. I said, okay, we're going to do this. You know why? Element of surprise. When you see something bizarre and crazy, you rarely comprehend it off the bat. It takes you 10, 15 seconds. Wait, what the hell just happened? I said, now, they didn't know my face back then. I couldn't do that later on. Everybody knew who I was when I was there. I said, they don't know. They just know something's going on. So I get back in line to the entranceway, and I start diagonaling my car, and the one cop says, "Sir, straighten your car out." And I just ignore him. Now I'm more diagonal until it's almost perfect. He says, "Sir," I said, "straighten your car out." He comes up to the door, and I get out of the car, face to face with 12 cops, and I say, "Something wrong with my car, officer," and got down like I was looking underneath and slid under there, boom, boom, click, click. Now, we practiced, I had it down to 12 seconds, and I nailed it in 12 seconds, and I yell out to TU, "TU, are you chained?" She goes, "I'm chained too." And all of a sudden, 15 seconds later, the first cop, "Oh shit, those are the activists chained in there next to the car." I'm like, element of surprise, they knew, but they didn't know, like, what is he doing under the car? So, the funny aspect is, as I'm under there, all in militant mode, I look to the right, and guess who left the car running? Because during practice, I was supposed to turn the car off. The muffler is blowing all the exhaust right into my face. I'm like, oh, fuck. At least I'm outside. I'm not going to die, but I don't want to breathe this in. So first cop comes up to me, and he leans under, and he says, and by the way, I guess we shouldn't judge books by their covers. I thought he looked like a Nazi. He had knee-high boots. He had this mustache going down, and he goes, "What you doing, buddy?" "I'm chaining my neck to the car because the elephants are in chains and this is slavery, and I'm making a protest about this." He said, "Oh, okay, all right. You like breathing those exhaust fumes?" "No." "You want me to shut your car off for you?" And I lean out as far as I could, and I just touched his leg gently, and I said, "Would you mind?" He goes, his name was Robert, by the way, he shuts the car off, takes the keys and puts them down next to me. He was one of the sweetest cops I ever met in all my years of protesting. And the media runs over now. I'm doing all my interviews. T's talking to as well. And it took the cops, I think it was an hour and a half to call the fire department, bring the jaws of life down and cut me loose. Now they yanked me out quickly by my feet. Again, I got an authority problem, even with police. And I jump up and I'm saying, "Hey, don't manhandle me like that. I want to get arrested. You can arrest me now." And they're all reaching for their guns at that point. I'm like, "Calm down." Now, Robert, the sweet cop, turns to the sergeant and says, "Sarge, just give this guy a citation. Let him go. He's just protesting." And the sergeant says, "Fuck you, Robert. Impound this car and take him downtown right now." He says again, "Sarge, give the guy a citation. They're just protesters. Let's let him go." Arrest him, impound his car. And as they're taking me away, I'm looking at Robert as well. I'm like, "Oh man, thanks." And he looked at me, "I tried." So when I got down to the police station, he actually came up to me while I was in the cell, and he says, "Hey man, I don't know, these guys don't understand what you're doing. They're making fun of you." He's pointing towards 10 cops are laughing in the background. He goes, "I'm kind of understanding what you were saying. In fact, tell me more." So I was able to educate him about the circus. He listened to me. He was really nice. Whenever Robert was there over the years, I never got messed with. But when he wasn't there, the Detroit Police Department arrested me 4 times, illegally and unlawfully. It was one of their favorite pastimes. Let's fuck with Gary. And so that was the first arrest after the Make Liberation. And I was nervous too. For everybody out there thinking of this, I think direct action is a wonderful, wonderful tactic. You want to talk about instant liberation? Okay, open up a cage, set somebody free, but beware of the consequences, okay? They are dire. There will be jail time if things go bad. And I was in a good era. I was only going to get maybe 3 years, ended up with 6 months. But nowadays, man, they're handing out 5, 10, even more year sentences. So just be careful. Now, civil disobedience, I'll be open about this. I don't think it's an effective tactic anymore in this day and age. I think it used to be effective. I might have caught the tail end of it myself. I'm not even sure how wonderfully effective it was, but it's lost its luster. Like sign-carrying protests to me have lost its luster. Not really effective. Nobody cares. You can stand outside of a fur store on Fur Free Friday, and they're going to be like, "Just leave them. They'll be gone in 2 hours. Let them. We're going to be there from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Who cares?" It used to mean something 60s, 70s, and 80s, but nowadays there are a lot of things that I stopped doing as I was running the gamut of activism.
You did get arrested multiple, I think, well,
a lot.
A lot more. I mean, I know, it's just crazy. Like, you just wouldn't stop. But your sentencing day, D-Day, right, comes along. So that's 2 years you were going to trial for, and they adjourn it, and it's a long, grueling
Pre-trial hearings, all that.
Yeah. So, and D-Day's like, you know, probably a bit nervous. Like, how did you feel on D-Day? And tell us about, like, you know, what happened that day and the sentencing, and did you expect the sentence and things like that?
I knew I was going to jail. I also knew I wanted to give a statement. Now, usually it always came easy to me over the years, but remember, this is still early on, so maybe I had to think a little harder, but I couldn't come up with what I wanted to say until about 2 weeks before this final trial date. I wake up in the middle of the night, which most of my great stuff came to me in the middle of the night. This brain I have is a curse and a blessing. It rarely let me sleep. That's why 2 hours a night. I was always in a mock debate with somebody. What are you going to say when Bill O'Reilly says this? What are you going to say when Jon Stewart says this? I'm like, just let me sleep. Oh, wait, I got something really good. As if people really like the things I came up with. That's all night long. So I wake up, I'm trying to sleep, and all of a sudden I go, I stand before this court without trepidation and without timidity because the truth cannot be suppressed today. And I had a piece of paper next to it. I literally wrote out.
You wrote the entire speech in one spark of inspiration?
Came out to me in the middle of the night. I got it, and that was the opening. And it just flowed out of me. So I knew I wanted to say this. Now, I was being warned because keep in mind, even though the lawyers were cool to me, understood what I was doing, they still wanted to follow the rules. Don't be dramatic, Gary. Don't challenge the judge and the system. Yeah. So Steve was scary. This is not a good idea. I know how you are. Don't say what you want to say. I said, Steve, it's going to be said in advance. So we had also had an arrangement with the Crown Attorney. Remember, this is Canna. He was actually going to let me go back home after I was found guilty, which I knew I was going to be found guilty. By the way, I was hassling the system. People say, why didn't you just stand? I said, well, wait, they harassed me for 10 days and wouldn't give me a bail hearing or give me bail. So I harassed them back and made them go through a trial that I knew I was going to be found guilty of. The agreement was they were going to let me go back home, you know, make sure Rex, my dog at the time, I can pass him off to my mom or my dad, make sure my rent is paid, close down with this or that. So judge finds me guilty. Judge A. Cusinado, and then he's told by the Crown Attorney and my attorney, you know, he'll be back for sentencing next week. The judge says, no, I'm not letting this man go. He might go back to Michigan and not come back. And my attorney said, we had an agreement. He said, I don't care what the agreement is. He's not leaving. So I lean over and said, you tell him I want to give the speech right now. I wasn't even prepared that day because I thought I was coming back to get the sentence and then do the speech. But I love those moments, those semi-freestyle moments or the freestyle moments that I do nowadays when I'm talking on all the podcasts. And I said, I'm ready. Let's do it. And Steve said, Gary, don't do this. He goes, you're gonna get 3 years, man. I said, it's being done. So, best speech I ever gave in my life. Only those in the courtroom heard it that day. Can you read it for us? I have to get my phone.
I've got it here.
Oh, you do?
Of course, I know this speech. Wow. It's.
I'm positive, by the way, they have an audio copy. I remember seeing a tape recorder. I've tried to get a copy. I've had journalists who have been supportive of me try to get a copy. They refuse. You're not going to get the same emotion and passion, obviously, because I was militant back in the 90s.
That's fine. I love this speech. I do have a copy of it, and I've copied it into a document for you to read here, because I would love to have a clip of you read. No, don't worry, man. I'm onto this, mate. I was onto this speech. I thought it was one of the most. Well, I'll just let you read it.
I stand before this court without trepidation and without timidity because the truth cannot be suppressed today and the truth will not be compromised. Mohandas Gandhi, one of the most benevolent people to ever grace this earth, once said, even if you are only one person, the truth is still the truth. The dilemma we face today is whether this court chooses to acknowledge the truth. The following statement is for everyone's edification. One day, every enslaved animal will obtain their freedom and the animal rights movement will succeed, because Gandhi also proclaimed all throughout history, the way of truth and love is always won. There have been murderers and tyrants, and at times they have seemed invincible, but in the end, they always fall. Always. The true devoted humanitarians who are working towards the magnanimous goal of achieving freedom for animals cannot be stopped by unjust laws. As long as humans are placed on a pedestal above non-humans, injustice to animals will fester, because without universal equality, one type of equality will always create another type of inequality. There will be no compromise here today, because the truth cannot be compromised. My presence in this courtroom today is paradoxical. I ask this court, if it is not a crime to torture, enslave, and murder animals, then how can it be a crime to free tortured, enslaved, and soon-to-be murdered animals? Humankind must climb out of its abyss of callousness, its abyss of apathy, and its abyss of greed. Enslaving and killing animals for human satisfaction can never be justified. And the fur industry must understand that the millions of manual neck breakings, anal and genital electrocutions, mass gassings, drownings, and toxic chemical injections can never be justified. And the snaring of millions of free-roaming animals in steel-jaw leg-hold traps who die slow, horrific deaths is unjustifiable as well. There will be no compromise, for the truth cannot be compromised. The schism that this court has created among the 5 co-accused has been sealed. Now that I have been convicted through my volition and in a symbolic protest of the unjust conditions that animals endure, a hunger strike will begin tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. For every mink that ever languished in a tiny cage and was savagely murdered at the Ebert's Fur Farm, I will go hungry. And for the 40 million other animals worldwide who have the skin ripped off their backs in a disgusting display of barbarity, in the name of vanity, I will go hungry. And if this court expects me to experience an apostasy, meaning an abandoning of my beliefs, it is sadly mistaken. In April of '97, when I was incarcerated for 10 days in a Chatham jail, I briefly experienced vicariously what a caged animal goes through. And thanks to that 10-day bail hearing, my empathy for every mistreated animal intensified. No matter what I go through during my incarceration and hunger strike will be nothing compared to the everlasting torture that innocent animals endure on a daily basis. And if this court is alarmed by my honesty, let me close with a quote from slave abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison. I will be as harsh as the truth and as uncompromising as justice. On this subject, I do not wish to think or speak or write with moderation. I am in earnest. I will not equivocate. I will not excuse. I will not retreat a single inch, and I will be heard. The apathy of the people is enough to make every statue leap from its pedestal and hasten the resurrection of the dead. My influence shall be felt in coming years, not perniciously but beneficially, not as a curse but as a blessing, and posterity will bear testimony that I was right. There will be no compromise here today, because the truth cannot be compromised. It brought back some feelings too, man, and that was said without notes.
You didn't have a... No, you did that off the top of your head?
Mm-hmm. With the most passion I've ever delivered anything. You got to remember again, the 90s Gary militancy, they didn't know how to handle me. And the judge ends up saying something to the effect, one of the trite lines, it's not that I disagree with what you believe in, it's you broke a law and I have to punish you. Now, I want people to know it was also my goal to not only put the mink murderer out of business, I was really banking on the fact that this judge would take his gavel and say, I cannot find this man guilty. It was an act of kindness. It didn't happen. He ends up giving me a 6-month sentence, at which point Steve leans over to me, my attorney, and says, you just saved yourself 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard anybody talk their way to a lower sentence I'm telling you, the Crown Attorney told me this morning you were getting 3 years. It was agreed upon. Wow. And he said, wow, what a speech. So they come and cuff me, and they walk me down the aisle as they're taking me away. If I can stand up for a second. I knew there was a row of mink farmers, about 25. And as they passed, I stopped the 2 cops, and I looked down the aisle. I stared them down, just like this. And the cops are trying to pull, and I was bigger back then, by the way, I was 207, I'm 170 now. I was harder to handle, and they finally pulled me away. I was just letting them know.
Yep.
I was the one that was right. And that was wild, man.
Because like, if there was that judge would not be human to hear that speech and not be affected in some way. Seems like you...
I remember, though, when I got to the part, if it's not a crime to torture, then how can it be a crime to free torture? I remember him going, like he got it. And again, wasn't doing it to be obnoxious, to be a dick. I have a point to make. We have a point to make if people would shut up and listen. So...
The judge isn't above the law, so the judge has to do something.
Although, I think one day it's going to happen. Some judge somewhere is going to take his gavel and say, I cannot find these people guilty for helping innocent beings out of a place of torture.
Set a new precedent or something like that.
It's going to have to, precedent has to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, real honor to hear you say that.
Thank you.
Read that out. That was
Actually, I always wanted to get that on tape.
Yeah.
I've never recorded that. It's the first time ever that I've reset it.
Yeah. No, and you said it perfectly.
It's almost how it came out too.
Yeah.
A little more passion because of the moment.
The adrenaline comes through, man. When that fire.
And that poured out of me that night. Yeah. That's what came out. I'm telling you, there were virtually no edits. I woke up and I got it.
Yeah. Spark. Yeah.
And that Garrison quote, man.
People might be thinking, oh, he's been arrested. He's a criminal, right? And like, guys can never be taken seriously because, you know, why should a criminal have any credibility? And like, what do you say to people before we get into your prison story, like about those people right now are thinking this guy's just a criminal? Like,
everybody that people admire the most were lawbreakers. Gandhi went to jail way more times than I ever did. Dr. Martin Luther King got arrested. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for standing up for his beliefs. So these are people that are collectively admired. It's absurd to think that somebody, just because they broke the law, you have to look at the law. Was it an unjust law? What were they breaking the law for? On behalf of black people in South Africa and apartheid, on behalf of black people in America that were being segregated and oppressed, on behalf of Indians that were being oppressed, on behalf of mink, on behalf of animals who were being oppressed. So it's kind of weird, but I got the last laugh because nobody ever gave a shit what I had to say before I got arrested. And all of a sudden, I get arrested and go to jail, and everybody wants to talk to me. The media's calling, the professors. I didn't find my way into the classroom. The professors brought me into the classroom. And then I realized, oh my God, education is where it's at. So I don't take back the breaking of the laws. I don't even take back Alan and Robin and Pat cooperating to make sure that I went to jail. It had to be that way. It was written. At first, I was so angry with them, as anybody would be. How could you? And then as I look back over the years, I'm like, thank goodness Robin and Alan turned me in, because nobody wanted to hear me beforehand, and now everybody did. In fact, some teachers from Canton High School called me and said, Mr. Yourofsky, you want to come to our political action day, talk to 800 students about why you went to jail? And a professor from Oakland University called me, same thing. And then when the crowd responded so positively with a standing ovation, I said, oh, education. They don't know. You didn't know? Go teach them. So that's how the education stuff was born. So the prison, yeah.
Prison ain't no joke though, like, especially like, you know, so no matter where you are, Canada, Australia, I've done time in Australia, America, you know, UK, prisons have the worst of the worst people all in one spot, and you tend to go to like a max first and then get lowered down. So tell us about when you go from the dock in the courtroom, they put the cuffs on you. Tell us about the process for you and like what you were thinking like, and then that moment in the cell.
Yeah, they walked me in. I'm still in militant mode. They put me in the EMDC, Elgin Middlesex Detention Center, Max Detention Center. By the way, these places are worse than a penitentiary. So this is a holding place for people before they go to the penitentiary, or if you get a 2-year sentence or less. So there was a mixture. There were some people with petty crimes, and there were some people with some major crimes that were waiting to be transferred. My cellmate Paul ends up telling me, he goes, I've been in and out of jail for 18 years, Gary. I can't believe they put you here. This is the worst place I've ever done time in. And the Max Detention Center was a lockdown facility. You only came out to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You stayed out after that for about an hour, maybe. Then you went back in lockdown, and they only took you outside for about 20 to 30 minutes if they felt like it. Understand, the penitentiary, they let you out of your cage in the morning. There's a yard, you can stay outside all day. There's a workout facility. There's a library. Might even be a movie room depending on where you're at. There's a commissary. You can go buy treats and stuff. Not where I was at. So
that's a hard 77 days.
It was a tough 77 days. In fact, and now I always knew somebody was looking out for me. And I always got along with nearly everybody. There's only one group of people on this planet I really don't jibe with, and it's hillbillies, as my friend Lana pointed out once. So they put me in that first day. I'm all over the news. Lead story. Man from Michigan sentenced to jail for liberating mink. So the alpha male in the area that I was put in, he wasn't pleased. He turns to me and says, where the hell you get off coming to our country and doing all this shit? And I'm trying to explain, hey man, I was giving these animals a chance to be free. Mink have their necks broken. It's violence. And I'm trying to stop the violence. And he says to me, now, guys hate to be intimidated. I was always really good with police and other people that were trying to bully me because I bullied them first and intimidated them first. I'm a great intimidator. I must admit, this guy got me. I was got for the first time. He says to me, you're in the wrong fucking cell because we're all fucking violent. Now you got to understand my crazy brain. All this happens in 2 seconds. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a good line. I wish I came up with that. Holy shit, I'm about to get my ass kicked because now him and his 9 boys behind him, 10 people start walking towards me and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to get my ass kicked. I put up my fist and I'm ready for this. I'm ready to get my ass kicked. And at that moment, the warden walks down the hallway. Says, hey, Yourofsky, come over here. Calls me to the corner of the cell. He wanted to tell me the rules of the penitentiary, of the prison, of the detention center. He said, hey, Gary, every Tuesday there's a commissary. You make sure you put your order in by Monday night. You can't have more than $50 in your commissary account. Make sure you make your bed every morning, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you. I finally say, can I speak to you in private? I said, why? What's going on? I said, well, I just need to speak to you in private, please. Kind of looks me up and down to make sure I'm not messing with him. He says, calls the guard, hey, open up the cell. So he takes me down the hallway. He said, what's going on? I said, well, I can't really tell you what's going on exactly, but if you don't switch me to a different unit, there's going to be some problems. And I'd appreciate it if you just move me somewhere else. Again, he looks me up and down. I said, just trust me. Just put me in a different unit. And he said, okay. And guard, go get Yourofsky's stuff and take him down or whatever. So they moved me. I never had a problem again. Those 10 guys were crazy, although they did kind of glance at me at times as they walked their unit past our unit to go outside. So that was an interesting moment. God, so many crazy things happen in jail. It's not a nice place to be. My brain actually shut down in order to cope with it. I remember getting letters from people all over the world. I still have them in a box. So nice. There's not much to do in jail, but obviously waste time. Watch time, pass. And I was reading the letters, but I couldn't respond to any of them. I didn't know how to. My brain was shut down. So when I knew I was getting kicked out on day 60, they said, actually, we're gonna deport you from Canada. You're being thrown out of the country, persona non grata. In the next couple weeks, we're gonna come get you. My brain turned back on, and I spent the next 17 days writing everyone a personal letter right back. And it was perfect because it took up my whole day. Everyone got a personalized letter. But man, prison is, God, it let me live the life of the animal though. Like whenever I felt it was too much and this is crazy, I kept thinking, I can't believe this is how they live. I know I'm getting out. I'll be okay soon. They never get out of this. Man, it just intensified my empathy. And it just made me want to do more things. In fact, when I got out of prison, 10 days later, I did one of my last acts where I chained my neck at the Detroit Animal Control Center because they were gassing dogs in the alleyway. They were putting them in a big container, a garbage bin, and with a hose hooked up to a muffler. So
you got out of jail and you did another action.
10 days later, and as they walked me past the media, I actually said, "Nice try, Canada. Didn't work." Again, you didn't know Radical Gary in the 90s. I didn't care. They couldn't stop me or control me.
Did you just want to make it known they couldn't stop you?
Well, listen, so I would still go to jail. I would still give my life for the animals. But I'll be honest, I really don't want to nowadays. I'm kind of comfortable in my little crazy life right now. I do it. But back then, I go ahead, take me. I don't care. In fact, cops would threaten to arrest me a lot at protests. And I'd stand up and I put my hands and I'd bump them. I'm like, go ahead, arrest me. I give a fuck. Go ahead, arrest me. Yeah. Go ahead. As soon as I get out, I'm going to come right back. Then what? And then cops would back off. They go, "Man, you're crazy." I go, "Why am I crazy? Because I'm not afraid of you? Not afraid to go to jail? Go ahead, fucking take me to jail. I give a fuck. Do it." And they'd go, and they'd leave. When the cops would leave, I'd be like, this guy's, again, so the whole edge they have is you're supposed to be afraid.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you're not afraid? They don't know. They literally didn't know what to do anymore. They were threatening me. I said, "Go ahead, do it. I don't care." So, man, it's funny jail story real quick. Gordy is back in jail. It's the rumbling of the day. Gordy's back. I go, "Who's Gordy?" And my cellmate Paul says, "Oh, you'll see Gordy, man. Wait till you see Gordy." I go, "Well, how do you know?" He goes, "I'm actually friends with Gordy. I'm one of the few people, but you'll see him." Gordy was in this time he just got an 18-and-a-half-year sentence for stabbing somebody. So they're taking us out to the yard one day, and from behind, as I'm opening up a little pack of vegan candy, I think it was Lifesavers, and I get tapped on the shoulder. Boom, boom, real hard. And this is prison, right? You got to stand. I turn around like I'm a tough guy, and 400-pound mountain man is standing there. I'm showing my age, but King Kong Bundy was a wrestler back in the day when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, and he looked like King Kong Bundy. Look it up online. And I was like, "Oh my God," and I back up, and he has his hand out, and I'm backing up. I go, "Did you want a piece of candy?" He says, and I think the orange one's the best, so I was like, Did you want the orange one?" And I put the orange one in his hand, and as I look over to Paul, he's mouthing to me, "That's Gordy." Like, okay, yeah. I can assume that's Gordy. So now I tell Paul, introduce me to him. So they take me to the yard, and Paul says, "Let me talk to him first." A couple minutes later, he calls me over. So Gordy looks up at me and says, "What's your name? What the hell did you do?" I said, "My name's Gary. I freed some mink from a mink farm. They're going to have their necks broken. I was just trying to give them a chance to be free." He looks at me and goes, "I think that's pretty cool, man. My name's Gordy, by the way. There was a kid growing up that used to shoot wolves. I used to kick his ass all the time. I really like wolves." And in my head, I'm going, "Look at Gordy. He's got a soft spot for the animals," right? He ended up taking all the literature that I had. He listened to me talk about animal rights. And one day, now Gordy was so big and bad that even the guards didn't know how to handle him. If he wanted to leave the yard early or do whatever, like you let Gordy do what he wanted to do to a certain degree. So we're having lunch one day. And you know what mystery meat is in high school? Nobody knows what it is. Well, you should see what mystery meat is in prison. So Gordy calls the guard over. He goes, "I want to see the warden, and I want to see him now. I don't know what the hell this is." And the warden comes right down in a couple of minutes. And Gordy picks up the piece of meat, and he hands it to the warden. He goes, "What the hell is that?" And the warden goes, "I don't know." And Gordy says, "Everybody knows what Gary has. He's got a bowl of vegetables and tofu every day. Everybody sees his clean food. What the hell are we getting?" And the warden said, "Well, Gary's a vegan. He gets special food." "Well, then we want to be vegan too. We want vegan food." And they all start pounding their hands. "We want vegan food." And I'm in the background going, if I only had a camera, they're demanding vegan food in prison. And the warden goes, "You can't change your diet once you're in here. He already told us before, we want vegan food." And they had this battle about trying to get vegan food. So
that was crazy.
It was funny as shit. Always a funny.
The disgust angle really got to them, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, what is this shit? Like,
And I would use the
You
disgust angle a lot.
Yeah, in your speeches, yeah.
Talk about things coming out of a hen's ass.
It's part of her menstruation cycle. It's a hen's period. People scramble up hen periods in the morning, and all of a sudden I'm weird.
Exactly.
Put things in a turkey's ass.
People take a dead turkey, open up the dead turkey's ass, or carve out a really big hole in their ass, take some stuffing and shove it inside their dead empty ass, and use their little dead ass as an oven to bake some bread. Somebody else's dead, empty, bacteria-laden ass to make bread? Ass bread? And people think vegans are weird?
Squeezing cow nipples, the things that ooze out.
Yeah.
I would do the bestiality section.
Yeah.
And people don't even realize the disgusting things that they're eating.
If it helps the animals, let's go throw it at them, right?
I'll use anything.
I wanted to read something that you, it's a couple of excerpts from your website from when you were in prison. You said, during my 77-day incarceration, I felt lifeless, moribund and enervated. I think it means lacking energy, maybe. Not from any sort of punishment or correction the system thought it doled out, but from the lack of public compassion and activism for animals. If one cannot feel, see, nor understand the preciousness of this earth and all its inhabitants, then why should he or she be blessed with the gift of existence? What a pathetic life I must have led before I heard the cries of the enslaved and tumult of the animal kingdom. Activism engulfs me. My life is this struggle. From liberator to educator, I continue to fight for interspecies justice. Do you remember those lines?
I do. Yeah, it was the hardest part was not being able to be active. Although I did as much preaching as I could in jail, it's kind of limited. It was wonderful to get back out, especially because, I mean, those were the crazy radical years up to the prison. But remember now it's about end of the 90s, 2000s hitting. Now I'm starting to see the education angle, and then I got to do the real powerful shit
impact
that I
came,
did.
didn't it?
All of a sudden, I got 2,500 plus speeches facing,
So you come out,
ahead of me.
you get out, you get arrested again, but then you have this transition, like you have this realization that maybe prison ain't where I'm most effective, and then you decide. Tell us about this realization from this transition from direct action, civil disobedience to education.
I was still looking for what is the action that's going to make people listen and get it. It's not direct action anymore. It's not civil disobedience. It's not the media. To me, the media is entertainment, in one ear and out the other. Even if it's a serious story and I'm telling you about cows having their babies stolen on dairy farms, once they get to the next story, this is who won the Monday Night Football game. This is who got divorced today. This is where the stock market's at. Oh, and here's the weather. It's just an entertainment for 30 minutes of nonsense. So lobbying wasn't working. You pass laws, and way too soon. We shouldn't be passing laws until people understand why those laws need to be passed. We're jumping the gun with that. So I'm running the gamut, and then I get invited to Canton High School to talk about why I went to jail. I go in there extemporaneous. I got nothing prepared, because to be honest, all I expected to hear at the end anyway was, fuck you, get a life. That's all I heard on the street. Fuck you, get a life. So I talked for 30 minutes on veganism, 30 minutes on vivisection. And as I finished, there was 800 students in the auditorium, kind of put my head down as I'm preparing for the fuck you, get a life. And there's a standing ovation. I look up, what the fuck? I'm not saying this to brag. I don't understand. About 45 or 50 students kept me after school for 4.5 hours in the hallway asking me more questions. I had to end it. I remember looking down at my watch and going, it is 8:30, guys. I got a dog at home. I got to get home and let him out. I'd stay all night. Thank you for listening. Oh, we want more. Several weeks later, I still have this letter somewhere. I get a letter from the school, from the teachers who organized it. Said, Mr. Yourofsky, we did a survey of the 800 students that heard you speak. 100 have decided to embrace veganism. That's a hell of a ratio. 100 out of 800 in 60 minutes? It's starting to make sense. Not fully yet until the next professor at Oakland University invites me in. Same thing, extemporaneous, standing ovation. Several people coming up to me, at least half the class. You changed my life. I had no idea. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, you got to talk to people. You got to educate people. So I decided to send out mass emails. And by the way, don't let people tell you that you can't do something in life in general, anything that's ever been done that was great was always a wild, crazy idea. Everyone took, Gary, they're never going to let you in the school system. You're going to try to get in there and talk about veganism, and you've been arrested 13 times? My letter to the school, so I would pick an area, and I would pick 5 or 6 colleges. I'd go to the website, grab every email from every professor, and send them basically 1 or 2 paragraphs, and it was something to the effect, it was simple. Can I come to your class and give a lecture on veganism? I've been arrested 13 times. I even support violence in certain situations, and the lecture is free. What do you think? I assumed 1 out of 100 would say yes. It's a little better. 2 or 3 out of 100 were saying yes. But even better than that, once they invited me in, they told all their colleagues, you have never heard somebody speak like this. You got to get this guy in your classes too. So all of a sudden, it went from 1 or 2 professors at a school to I had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 professors at University of Central Florida bringing me in every semester. University of Akron, same thing. I had places that I was going to nonstop. So the first semester in 2002 only had 37 talks. Jumped to 76 the second semester, and the following year, from there on out, it was a minimum of 100 every semester. One year I did 263 talks, so I was averaging 200 to 263 lectures every year. And there were some times I had to turn down talks. They overlapped, and I hated that, but I was so focused and driven that it didn't matter where I had to drive, as long as it was feasible to get there. So for instance, I would do talks in New York City. I'd finish my last talk of the day at say 6 o'clock. I would do a 5:30 to 8 o'clock class, jump in the car, drive 7 hours to Akron because I had a 7:30 talk the next morning. It's crazy, but I could get there. Now, I had a 3 head bob rule, so I'm driving at night. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I would pull over on the side of the road, sleep for 15 minutes. Okay, as long as I can get there, I would get there, because how could I pass up the chance of speaking to 25, 50, 100, 200 students? And mind you, I was rarely doing 1 lecture per day. It was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lectures. One day, I did 7. One time at a high school, I did 8 lectures in one day. Every class, they brought me around. This is draining. This is, sometimes mental work, in fact, I don't say sometimes, all the time to me, mental work is way harder than manual labor. Mm. And my brain was so drained, and there'd be times I'd show up for a class, or by the 5th lecture, you'd see me before the class, and like, there's no way this guy can speak, and I'd just be in the corner like, I'm so tired, and then they'd introduce me and be like, okay, everybody, so what I want to talk about today, and this energy would just come, and you couldn't tell that I was dead tired until the last word came out, Q&A was over. And be like, I'm going to go lay down in the hallway just 5 minutes. And I'd lay down on my briefcase and just go to sleep. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And I couldn't be stopped. I couldn't stop. And I was in an era too. So I grew up without the internet, grew up without cell phones. I grew up without documenting everything that I was doing. Unlike today, where you take a picture of breakfast and lunch and dinner and share. Like, I never understood that. So out of the 2,660 lectures I gave, there's only probably about 10 or 15 on video, but it wasn't important to me because the classroom was the only thing that mattered to me. Those students were the only thing that mattered, and it was a lonely road. I didn't have people with me most of the time. Erica came with me at the end for several years. Kate was with me for a couple years, but at least half of the 13 years I was on the road, I was by myself. And I could only tell the stories like, you won't believe I turned 100 people vegan today. It was crazy. The whole class cried and came up to me and shook my hands. It was the best moment of their lives. And I saw change. Joey, this is something that I want to encourage people to do. You can make change. I'm just a simple guy from Michigan with a big heart. I couldn't be quiet. But I would come in the classroom, and this is how people were. And I heard everything. I had supersonic hearing. They're like, no, the fucking vegan's here today. I hear a fucking lecture on vegan. I should have brought a hamburger, man. I should have brought my dad's deer head. That would have been funny. I didn't get mad at anybody because I remember how I was. They don't know. Wait till I get them. So start like this every class. I mean, it sucks to be hated. I never wanted to be hated. When I grew up, everybody loved me. I was the life of the party. I was the shit. All of a sudden, Gary likes chickens and cows. Everybody fucking hates Gary. But so it would start like this. 10 minutes in, all of a sudden, I drop in that slaughterhouse video. About 15 minutes in, all of a sudden, kind of like this. It's kind of a submissive position. Some psychologists have told me, like, man, you really broke them down. And then So I had a militant comedic style, Malcolm X and George Carlin mixed into one. So I'd push them to a limit where they couldn't take it anymore, and I'd see it. I'd come out of that slaughterhouse video with, there are 5,000 concentration camp trucks on American highways right now.
Right now, at this very moment, on American highways, there are no less than 5,000 concentration camp trucks. Inside these trucks, there are living, terrified, innocent beings. Cows and pigs and chickens.
You're responsible for the right. I'm just being, and they'd be in the back like, no, I can't. And I take them to the limit, and then the bestiality stuff. I make a joke, make some sarcastic. Now they start laughing. Now they're back with me. So it was a back and forth. It was a militant comedy roast, is basically how I describe my speech. And it was just such a phenomenal thing to see this, to this, to this. And at the end, it was almost like, okay, all right, you're right. What do I eat tomorrow? Like, yes. And this, to see change happen, because we always want it, and most of us never get to see it, especially if you're on the streets. It's a tough place to make change, and it can happen in the right setting. So I took my street protest to the classroom. In fact, I lectured in the same classes, same professors so often. Many professors started using me as a substitute teacher when they had a conference. So they contact me before the semester and say, Gary, on February 18th, I got to go do this conference. Can you come and do my class? So for the people that think I'm too radical, I had professors Professor Klein, Georgia Tech, where the famous speech was located. I don't think I saw him for the last 4 or 5 years of my lecture tour. He used me as a substitute teacher for his conferences and wasn't vegan. That's, man, you give the best speech ever. Please take my class. And it was always a huge class. Those public policy classes of 150, 250 students.
Right.
So for anybody who thinks this style's not good, the professors 95% of the time brought me back. So I always ask people when they thought I was too radical, I said, if the professors bring me in, why do you think it's too radical? Because if they kick me out, I would actually sit down and agree with you and go, you know what, maybe I need to change something. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
And for fun, maybe people should just go through your emails and comments that you received. I was going through it. Well, God, it's like January, February, March, and I was just scrolling.
You could probably read the Bible before you finish reading my comment section.
It was like a professor, student, you changed my life, and this was before I get a lot, but I've got hundreds of millions of views across social media, probably 500 million by now. I've been on, and we got documentaries on Prime and that. But you were getting. That just shows like the amount of people in the classroom that were converting, but the effectiveness of those speeches.
I never had a class where I didn't at least convert one. Even those horrible classes, and some were horrible. One person would always come up to me and say, I heard what you had to say. I don't know what they're listening to. I'm sorry you had to hear that, but I'm going vegan. I'm like, thank goodness, because it was like, please tell me somebody heard my message. But most of the time was 50% conversion rate. It was phenomenal.
It's not like I'm going vegan. It's like you changed my entire outlook on life.
But the professors always did surveys. They told me I always had a minimum of 15 to 20% conversion, but it was usually in the 50%.
That's on the spot. So change doesn't happen like that.
I know.
It happens gradually.
I know.
On the spot is
60 minutes. This topic.
Yeah.
You imagine, I tell people, this is the hardest social justice movement ever. I got to convince somebody in 60 minutes to be nice to a chicken. You want to talk about a hard fucking task?
Yeah.
And I was doing it 50% of the time, most of the time, if not more. There were classes where everybody went vegan. It's crazy.
It's good to get them in the classroom when they were a bit younger, but this might be a little bit tougher with the older crowd, depending on.
Younger was the younger's easier. Young kids are still attached.
Yeah.
So the problem that I discovered accidentally was, unless I have mommy and daddy there, this is not going to work. You know the toughest question I ever had? It wasn't from Penn State, University of Michigan, NYU. It wasn't the fucking big schools. 7th grader from Toledo, Aurora Academy, says to me, Mr. Yourofsky, I believe everything you say today. I do. I want to become vegan. What happens today when I go home and my mom says I can't? And you know how I am, even by today. You ask a question, you got an answer. As soon as you're done, I might have 5 different answers. I went, Took me 30 seconds. I walked down to the crowd. I said, okay, Here's my business card, that's my number. Have your mom or your dad call me if they have questions. Somebody give me a pen. It's Dr. Jerry Velasic, this is his phone number. If they have questions about health, Jerry wants to help. He's free, trust me, free. And I said, if your mom or your dad won't let you do this, I can't hold you accountable. But you gotta promise me, as soon as you can do this on your own, you will. He said, I promise. I made him do it 3 times, so it was giggling. I'm like, promise, promise, promise. And I gave him a hug. I'm like, oh man, and then I realized, I gotta go to college. You don't need mommy and dad's permission, so I never did another high school or middle school after that. And it sucked because I lost. You lose, the older you are, the further away from animals you are.
Gets put into the people's
more lies are in there, yeah.
Exactly. You like created the perfect kind of situation, environment where people are in the classroom, so they're there to learn. So they're already open, right? And then well, some aren't, but you know, but then they've got you for that amount of time, no matter what. And the way that you control the room, it's almost like they're being held accountable. There's no way out. And they also, it's a one track, you get your question later, you listen to this and then you show them the footage. It's almost like, it was like this perfect recipe, you know? So I think the effectiveness of those has actually been tested. And then people are like, well, maybe we can make some tweaks that make it better. But how do you know that you could make it better? Maybe if you do tweaks, it might make it worse.
I set it up that way for a reason.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear you. See, the problem on the street is they get to talk. I say, you need to shut up. I know what you're fucking thinking, and I know what you're about to say.
I could see like a thought bubble above their head while you're talking of every single excuse they're about to come out with. So don't even bother.
And then I hear it on the streets. It's like, this is why I made everybody shut up for 60 minutes. I'm tired of it. What about protein? What about God? What about the animals?
It's all in the speech.
It's like, fuck, man, okay.
I like how you actually preemptively ask questions like Socratically throughout the speech, and questions like,
And if you think there's such a thing as humane slaughter, I'm curious, do you also think there's such a thing as humane rape? Humane child molestation? Humane slavery? How about a humane Holocaust? In fact, what is your definition of a Holocaust?
what is your idea of it? And like those questions are like probably, wait a second, he just said Holocaust. This isn't, like it's always, it's very...
I want you to know, so when I decided to come back, so the truth is, I forgot most of the shit that I did. I know it seems weird. I know people seem to think I'm some narcissist that sits around and watches my shit. I don't. So when I knew I was coming back, I went online to look at it. And I caught you doing an overview of my speech, breaking it down. And I gotta say, man,
That was 2021, I did that.
I had a tear in my eye. I'm like, oh my God, oh, Joey broke that shit down. Wow, okay, people were listening and seeing what I was doing. There were times I didn't think anybody was listening besides the students in the classroom, and that was my main focus. It was nice to hear you break it down so eloquently. And then I watched some of the speech myself. As you're watching, I'm going, wait, I forgot it. Oh my God, that's tight. Okay, I see why people are listening. But I'm not saying it arrogantly. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. And then I would yell out to Erica. I'm like, Erica, do you remember I said this? She goes, yeah, Gary, everybody remembers but you. Because I locked myself away in this.
You're in the zone. And also, like, you probably, like, if it ain't perfect in your eyes, you probably think I could do better next time. I've done that better. Or you always
the truth is, I wish if I would go back, I would take out the health and the environment and do all ethics.
Yeah, why?
Every semester when it began, I wanted to take it out, health, environment, and do all ethics. Then the professors would always tell me, but Gary, we've done surveys, and the health is everyone's favorite part. It gets them interested, and then they like ethics next. I'm like, oh, damn. Okay, I'll leave it in. So, but every semester I had this battle. I don't want to do health anymore. I just want to add more ethics. But again, the shit worked. I really...
I don't know, man. Like, you know, this is the thing. You want to take it out, but that's you want to take it out. How do you know that if you took that out?
I know.
Because it's almost like, it's like playing with fire then. Well, you could do a test. You could run a test like for a year.
Well, so there were times I did have to take it out. So not every class I did was 60, 70, 90 minutes where I can do the full speech. So the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes were 50-minute classes. By the time they got in, sat down, the teacher said something, it's down to 45. So basically, I did take out health and environment a lot, and it still worked.
Yeah.
So I was able to test it along the way. But they all said the full speech is really what people like the most.
We took health and environment out of our documentary.
You did.
Yeah, we did master interviews. We flew around to do the master interviews. We got, I was like, well, it's coming out because we have to make decisions here. And there was one sentence, two sentences, actually, it was one sentence that one person said, it's better for your health and it's good for the environment in the whole thing. And I was like, that's all they need. It's been overstated now. Like, they don't need to know anymore. Like,
I would do something like that for the short classes.
Right,
By the way, where do you think all the diseases are coming from? How come this is not a vegan world and everybody's sick? Think about that. Or how come there's a drugstore on every corner? You guys tell me you get everything you need and everybody needs vitamins and everybody's sick. So
the ethical message is the one that keeps you vegan, man. Inspires a movement of activists.
There's no doubt.
Your speech that people see, the Georgia Tech speech, I mean, it's one of the most famous, but like, I'd just like to say that's like, you didn't just pop out and just write a speech. Like, that is years of grinding, and someone decided to whip out a camera and film it, right?
I get an email from Nathan Black a couple days before, said, Gary, man, I heard your speech last year at Georgia Tech. It changed my life. Can I come by and film you when you're going back in Professor Klein's class? I'd like to put it online. Again, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, show up. I don't care. So he shows up. He wants to mic me up, by the way. I said, no, I'm not doing mics. Don't even set up any fucking lights. I'm like Pavarotti or Rob Halford from Judas Priest. When I start speaking, you don't need a microphone. And that was a big hall. I was a class of always 150 to 250 students. No microphone. I said, just stay out of my way. Record it over there. He records it. Thank God that Nathan Black recorded it because of what it ended up doing. He caught a moment too. It was one of those moments. Maybe my best speech ever, next to the Make Liberation speech. Yeah.
And like, people don't see how long it took to get that.
So that was 8 years so I'd started lecturing full time in 2002. We're now fast forward to 2010. I'm in my prime.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in it. So I now know how to give this perfect speech. It's coming out perfect.
Yep.
I'm not afraid, not that I ever was, to say exactly what needs to be said. And yeah, it was a moment in time. There were a couple of freestyles in there though. On the way to the lecture that morning, there was another a story on the radio about E. coli recall, spinach. So that section about spinach doesn't shit, broccoli doesn't shit. That pissed me off that morning. And I said, say something today about explaining where E. coli comes from. I'm tired of spinach getting the blame and alfalfa sprouts.
Let's keep in mind the one and only source of E. coli and salmonella: shit. Human shit or animal shit. Spinach doesn't shit. Broccoli doesn't shit. Peanuts don't shit.
Right, it's the dairy farm in the area. It's the beet farm in the area. So that was a freestyle. Actually, what I said after the slaughterhouse video, the concentration camp trucks. So at that time too, I would force myself to actually freestyle after the slaughterhouse video. So keep in mind too, I had to watch that fucking video 2,660 times. I didn't walk out of the room. It wouldn't be fair for me to make everyone else watch it. So I had to sit there and watch it too, which added to my PTSD and my stress over the years. But that video would pump me up so much to continue. It would anger me and just like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking let them have it now.
These trucks are being driven to concentration camp slaughterhouses that we've carefully constructed all across America. When the trucks arrive, the animals are so frightened, they won't even get off the truck. They're not stupid. They know what's next.
When the slaughterhouse clip is shown, there's a moment of silence from you, and you know it's intense. The room is quiet. And you think
that was intentional.
Yeah, I know. And it's like
there's power in silence and pause. You'll notice I don't and ah when I speak.
Yeah.
Intentionally, and I says just pace. Make them wait. What's he gonna? Oh my God, what's he gonna do?
It's like that. Well, it's almost like the students there are responsible for what's on the screen, and you're not going to ease up at that point. You're not like, look, I understand. Look, I know. You're really going in like, you've done this. It's like a stern kind of like father talking to at this moment that they really need when they're in that moment of like openness and like shock and sadness and like emotion, and you really capitalize on that emotion in that moment. And you refuse to do a speech without showing your slaughter clip.
It just doesn't work. Who could believe that living beings are being cut up while they're fully conscious? They're not out of it. They're not stunned. They're not put under before. Not that it would be okay, but I have to show you. We start cutting their heads off while they're screaming and writhing, cutting off legs and limbs, arms and tails. You don't believe me, no matter how graphic I could describe it, and I could be graphic, it doesn't work. So yeah, there were times professors or teachers would say, yeah, you can't show that video. I said, well, I unfortunately cannot do the lecture. But wait, but Gary, you're so graphic. No, no. Could you believe a slave ship unless you saw it? I don't. Can you believe Auschwitz? I can't envision it because you'd have to see people being walked into a gas chamber. Are you kidding me? Your mind protects yourself from these horrible images. So it's almost impossible for you to really grasp what goes on in a house of slaughter unless you see it. And then once you see it, it's still hard to grasp. You're almost like, sometimes people would laugh, but it wasn't a mean laugh. You didn't know how to react. Because at first I get up, I'm like, oh, you know what? You don't, something you're like, it's a nervous, oh my God, what the fuck's going on laugh.
Especially men do, they tend to laugh, yeah.
But it was like, there were a couple, serial killer laughs that happened to me over the years, which are other stories too. But most of the time I learned to realize you don't know how to react. Your mind is just melting right before you and the foundations are crumbling, and sometimes a laugh is kind of your body's friendly way to comfort yourself.
Yeah.
But they had to see the slaughterhouse video.
Because they're not only like not going to believe you, but their battle, it's not just the lack of seeing that, it's also the tsunami of humane nonsense labeling that they are being constantly programmed with since they're a kid. So that's what you're battling too. So
they think, and I think I said in the speech, you thought there were cartoon characters of animals being killed. It was this happy place, because that's what you see on TV. It's all happy cows come from California, some cartoon character. I mean, I've seen some ads around the world where there was a pig once. I was in France, and he was actually cutting himself in half.
Smiling still, probably, you know.
But the outrageous propaganda from those who abuse animals, and this is why we've all been brainwashed and programmed. We were all brainwashed and programmed, and somebody unbrainwashed and deprogrammed us, and that was my goal. That was my goal, is I was going to take you out of this stupor. You guys, I'm waking you up. In fact, isn't it kind of like the cave story, the cave allegory from Plato, where people are living in a cave, chained up and looking at a wall, and it's a projector behind them showing them what the world is, and somebody comes and says, no, just turn around, there's a real world out there, and they're getting mad. No, this is the real world. And that's how people are when it comes to the meat, dairy, and egg industries. No, come on, animals are treated nicely. They want to be killed. They want us to take their eggs. They want us to steal their babies. I mean, the amount of propaganda, and it just doesn't come from the meat, dairy, and egg industries, right? It comes from our parents, who were lied to by their parents, religion, government, TV. I mean, everywhere we look, it says meat, dairy, and cheese, and eggs. This is normal. This is normal. The vegans are the abnormal ones. In reverse, people, we are the normal ones, extending compassion and decency. And if you're consuming flesh and blood and veins and muscles and tendons and things that come out of a hen's ass, you are living in an outrageous world.
Yeah, a lie that they don't know that they're involved with. And like when I'm now being an investigator myself, it's always worse than to this day, I'll go in somewhere free range, this, that, the other. It's always worse than I expect it to be. And I don't have very high expectations of these animal abuse industries, obviously after 10 years doing this. Like it's always something so fucked up that it even still shocks me to my core, and I leave there half traumatized from what I've seen after visiting dozens of places, you know. So
I used to speak in rural America a lot. This is where they needed it the most, where people were afraid to go preach. I talked at Halifax Community College a lot in North Carolina. There were students there that had worked or were working in Smithfield slaughterhouses. They would come up to me after the class. They're actually very nice. I had a really great experience at Halifax Community College all the time. They said, just so you know, it's way worse than what you showed. I said, excuse me? He goes, we don't cut the teeth of the pigs off. We take a hammer and we just fucking knock it out. I said, really? Because I was not aware of that. He goes, no, we knock it out with a hammer. And I mean, the things they would tell me, worse than what I had been told or what I had seen, which backs up what you just said.
Of course. People who worked in the industry know that we're not talking shit. And that's interesting, isn't it? And it's that when you think of like an investigator going in and taking a slight, like we go in for 2 weeks, leave cameras, right? And we come up with this horrible, horrible stuff. We go in for a moment in time, in one place, in the world, at one moment in time throughout the year of how many decades of this place been operating. And we come back with the most horrible stuff. So imagine what they're seeing every day. And when people try to tell me, oh no, this farmer's not that, don't give me that shit. He's evil. He sees a lot. He knows exactly what's going on in this place. He knows better than everyone. And he's lying to everyone, to himself, to his family. And he's seeing a lot worse than we've uncovered here. So they're all, if they're working in that place, not necessarily people who are trying to get a job, but the ones who are at the top, who own the facility, they are the bad ones. And they've got some kind of psychopathy to be able to hold that in and still lie to everyone about how humane it is, right?
The power of money, man.
Yeah.
What people do for the biggest business ever in existence, animal slavery, since the beginning of time.
Yep.
People think, oh, it's gasoline, it's oil, it's computers nowadays. No, it's not. It doesn't even come close to the animal slavery industry.
I actually have a part in my I used to do an activist workshop. I went on to go inspire activists to be active, to magnify the reach for turning people vegan, and that I used that the success of that speech as kind of like a blueprint for people. I was like, Gary didn't film anything. And then one person incidentally filmed his speech and it got, well, I think it's on 5 million views right now. But not only that, is the other day I seen one, I think it had 50 million views on X, shared by some meat eating page who doesn't even know who you are. And he's like, I'm a meat eater. And this is years later, we're in 2025. And I'm like, how's that got 50 million views? Gary doesn't even know. And people are in the comment section like, it's a small clip, 30 seconds. And people are like, wow, yeah, he's right, And it's just like the amount of views little clips have got. I mean,
and it's been translated into different languages.
Exactly.
If you add up everything, I don't know how many millions and millions of hits it has, but I know there are hundreds of thousands of Gary vegans around this planet.
Yep.
And some people say millions, if you take into account the people I've converted, who they've converted, we could definitely get into the billions.
I was on a TV show, Veganville, on BBC in the UK. The bodybuilder that was in the class, he was from America. You came into his classroom and turned him vegan. Corinne. You were in his classroom. Yeah. It's like you did back in your day. You had to do so much more work to reach 50,000 people individually. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. Like that you were training for this moment, for this speech. If you filmed the first speech, like I filmed my first speech, man, it's pretty whack. It's all right. But I was thinking.
I have it somewhere, by the way.
Yeah.
I do have
your first speech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's on VHS.
Yeah, right. No, I've seen some of your
earlier stuff.
Some of your earlier stuff is
I have some stuff from the 90s that I used to do local cable shows. They're not even VHS. They're twice as big as VHS tapes. I don't know what they are, but they're in a box in my basement.
You get them converted, man.
You guys would be shocked to see me in '96. So there was a show that Neil Monroe used to run. He was the editor-in-chief of the Oakland Press, which was our third largest newspaper. He had me on 3 times. What's hysterical is the only other person that was on 3 times was former Governor John Engler. Me and the governor. But that's how I was still trying to get out there. And yeah, Neil was always open-minded to me and always listened. But it's fun. Like when I see the old clip every once in a while, I'm like, wow, I really came a long way.
It's crazy. It's almost like a bit of
the growth.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wouldn't have been the same speech if my whole journey is online. I started filming my stuff straight away. And it happened because I had a conversation with someone. I was like, I just wasted that on that arsehole. And I was spitting flames, inspiring. And I was like, yeah, and then I was like, fuck this. From every single moment in time, I'm like, I whip out the phone. I don't give a fuck. I started filming like that with my phone flipped out like that, and then posted on my YouTube channel. And then that's how we started filming outreach. And now you see people filming outreach, magnifying their outreach. So they've got this little audience watching this moment in time. It might not be the same kind of effect because the classroom setting is like guaranteed to make.
Well, again, you're getting all the information in the classroom. I think I close most of my speeches with, "So what's your excuse now?"
Yep.
You might have had a pretty good excuse before I got here of being uninformed and misinformed. Okay. That's fair. Honestly, well, I was the same way for a long time. I'm kind of curious, though. What's the excuse now?
Seriously. Because to me, at that point, if you could watch my speech or Earthlings and not change, you're just a dick. At that point, you're just a dick. Like, no, there can't be anything else. We've covered it all. And when it comes to Earthlings, I can't even get through that shit. Anybody that can watch that all the way through and not change their life, something's wrong with this person.
100%. Yeah, it's something I fight with every day in my head, like how.
And these creatures have never harmed you, violated you, or taken advantage of you in any way, shape, or form. The least you can do is return the favor.
So your retirement, 2017, you left a massive legacy behind, but you know, I never really I never emailed you. I didn't want to bother you with anything, and I thought you're incredibly intelligent dude, very wise. You know yourself and your limits, and I never, I actually didn't ever want to reach out to you to remind you of the movement that you just retired from. So I didn't want to bother you. I want to say, hey man, like going through this shit, but I knew that you were the only real person that would understand, like, because there wasn't many in the forefront quite like you, and really, you were like the most. You were speaking the truth about animal rights in the forefront, almost alone. It felt it was like, and you were copping all this, because you are quite. You don't mince your words. You're quite controversial when you say things, and how you feel and what you mean, and that kind of blew up the internet a bit. Your pages blew up really quick, like at really unprecedented speed. I always looked at that, and I was like, when I was going through it, I always looked at what you went through as kind of like an anchor for me. I was like, well, I saw this happen with Gary, and I'm not going to go down that road and entertain that, and I'm going to I just always had that in the back of my mind, like, he done 20 years, man, and hard. So it was something that just kept me going. But also at the same time, I didn't want to say any, like, out of respect, not out of blanking you and ignoring you. But I always thought about you, but I didn't want to, because I didn't know if it was going to bring something up, like, what's going on, and and so that was that. But tell us about your retirement leading up to the final statement that you made.
I couldn't do it anymore, and it broke my heart. Don't think I don't think that I didn't feel like I was letting the animals down. I just had to take care of myself. It was too much. My brain had melted. I was stressed out. I learned to finally enjoy my own company and my little world that I created. I really didn't leave. I didn't leave the house much. I went to work out every morning. I go to the grocery store, I come home, I smoke weed all day, and I watch YouTube. And for me, it's what brought me peace of mind. It let me forget about things, not that I wanted to. I knew what was going on. I also knew at the same time as I was smoking down and then laughing and giggling, I turned to Eric, I said, I'm sitting on the couch in my underwear watching SportsCenter and watching George Carlin clips on YouTube. And I think I'm still doing more than most people have. I did so much in the past. My shit still lives on. I'm still converting people today, even though I'm no longer active. So I did have a lot of solace in all the stuff that I did, that it allowed me to step back for 8 to 10 years and take a break and recuperate. And yeah, I felt something was calling me back. I'm inspiring people. I think I have a lot of information to share. I'd like to tell some activists that you can do it this way. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to the people in the boardroom saying, say plant-based. Don't call yourself an animal liberationist. Say animal advocate. People will listen more. No, they won't. They will not listen more because you play a game that says you're plant-based or you're an animal advocate. Say you're an animal rights person, animal liberationist. Speak the truth. This is what people respond to. Don't play games. You can do this. And look at me. I'm one guy, not a philosopher. I just care. Somebody once tried to insult me, sent me an email and said, you know what, Gary? The only thing that makes you better than everyone else is that you're more determined. Was that an insult? Okay, yeah. Well, you can be determined too. I was determined. I was determined to make a difference. And we can all make a difference with determination, with some courage. And don't think that just because I'm really good in front of a crowd or good in front of a camera, that I don't get nervous. I was nervous. And I thought about the animals. I said, get over your damn nerves. Work through it. I didn't want to, and I don't think I enjoyed being hated. I told you already, I hated walking in the room being hated. Like, here I go again, everybody fucking hates me. I got to win everybody over. It's draining, but you can do it. You can do what I did. Don't think, oh, this is Gary's thing, and then, well, there's no one else can ever do this. There's people doing this all over the planet making a fucking difference because they're determined and they care enough. It just takes some caring. Just fight for the animals. Stand up and speak out. Who knows what you could accomplish? So I'm glad to be back. And that retirement letter, the tag your it comment, I meant that. Okay, everybody. It's you can't go on forever. I feel like Michael Jordan in the Washington Wizards uniform, Tom Brady in his last year, Djokovic right now can't close out, win another major. You lose a step along the way, and somebody else has to come along and take the flame, take the torch, and run with it. And that's what I want all those people that I've inspired to do. Stand up and run with it now. I am back. I'm not in the classrooms, though, anymore. I'm going to be doing podcasts, sharing stories, and trying to, encourage people. But listen, anyone can do what I did. Just do it. Most important thing, stop having discussions about the debates and debates about the discussions. Just go and fucking do it. Honestly, I never planned my shit out. I did it, and then I analyzed it. If there was a discussion to be had, it was after I did something. Okay, Gary, when you went and did that thing yesterday and this happened, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Okay, next time I'll do this. Don't work it out beforehand. Work it out afterward. Do something first and then see how effective it was. Should I change this? Should I do this? Tweak that?
Do it. Yeah. That's what we're very similar in that regard. So before we go on to talk about your reason for coming back, from your years of doing these lectures, right, you've learned a lot, right? You've learned more than anyone, and still to this day, no one's holding a candle to your advocacy because, well, I guess you got 20 years behind you, so we're still all babies, right?
Remember, I've been vegan longer than most people alive in this movement.
Yes, I know. So like we're seeing you 10 years ago and you still had 20 years on us. Right? So I get that why. So don't feel inadequate, anyone, if you're not dropping
just so you know, when I started, there was basically one veggie burger on the market, Boca Burger. And if you didn't like Boca Burgers, you were shit out of luck. That's all that was it. And when we went to Subway, the sub chain, a salad on a bun. We were like, oh my God, a salad on a bun. This is fucking great.
Yeah. My mate was telling me he's been vegan over 30 years, 20 years at the time. So, but he was saying that he had to drive an hour to get soy milk powder. And he said, I don't fucking like soy milk. He said, I don't want to have water on my cereal though. So I was like, bro, you're just a legend, mate.
And there was always soy milk. Yeah. Like now you got 15 different plant milks.
Exactly. There's no excuse now, is there? But so what would be your one, like, if you could draw one most valuable lesson from your years of doing lectures, like for other advocates out there, what would it be?
Speak the truth. Stop sugarcoating things. Don't act like a politician. Everybody sits around in this boardroom, this fake boardroom, and decides, we should do this and we should do that. Meanwhile, you could get a hold of me and ask me what works. I went and talked to the people on the street. I was face to face with people. You know what works? The truth worked, not acting like a politician. saying what was on your mind. When I was in Halifax Community College, I just brought it up. When I first showed up there, they all showed up in camouflage. I lean over to the professor. I'm like, boy, they really came to fuck with me today, huh? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, look at them in camouflage. He goes, Gary, welcome to Halifax County Community College. This is how they dress. And over the years, they were some of the best students. And I asked them a couple years later, I'm like, why is everybody so wonderful here? They really listen to me. They take notes, ask me sincere questions, no fights. He said, they can't believe that you would actually come to this little school and talk to them. All the places you can be, you would come to Halifax. So talk to people honestly and openly. Talk to the people that you probably think wouldn't listen. In fact, you know that if I could lecture full-time in Texas year-round, I would have. Texas was my best state. They were the most cordial. And even if they weren't cordial, because they were heavily conservative, I knew where they stood. And their position was basically, prove it. Prove your case. Good, that's why I'm here. I would love to. And I prove my case and they go, I gotta tell you, man, I came here to laugh at you. And that was the most amazing speech. You made sense and I'm going vegan. It was the Republican areas that were actually wonderful to me. When I had blow-ups, when I had Jerry Springer show blow-ups in my Q&As, and I did 200 lectures a year, only about 15 or 20 turned crazy. And it wasn't me, it was them freaking out. So the ratio was amazing. I'm not saying I converted everyone in the 180, 185 classes, but never had a divisive comment in those classes. Had a wonderful Q&A. The liberal left, they thought they were doing enough. Hey, I already recycle, man. I have to care about cows now? I said, that's not even the most important R. Reducing and reusing are more important than recycling. Or, hey, man, I already drive an electric car or hybrid. Dude, that's not enough. I have an energy efficient washer. Not enough. Not doing anything to this planet. You need to become vegan. So I really enjoyed speaking in rural America a lot. I had hunters coming up to me all the time, shaking my hands. And I'm not saying converting, but the animal killer shaking hands with the radical vegan saying, hey man, I came here to laugh at you. I understand animal rights for the first time ever. I understand why you guys feel this way. Now, I did convert hunters, just so you know, a couple quick stories. One, San Diego State University. I got 4 students after class hanging out. Always had people hanging out after class, as long as I can hang out after 2. And I did have another lecture in a half an hour, though, on campus. So I'm talking, I'm looking at I'm like, okay, 3 of them are asking questions, 1 is not. And finally I go, guys, I only got 8 minutes. I got a 5-minute walk to the next class. I got to go. And I looked at the guy, quick question. And he walks up and he says, he takes a step finally off the wall, reaches in his back pocket, pulls out his wallet, takes out his hunting and his fishing licenses. I still have those 2 back at home. He hands them to me, he goes, you touch me right here, man. Shocking. Like in my head. Now, my response, if everyone thinks that I'm too radical, too militant, I say, can I give you a hug? It's like, yeah, and here I am hugging the hunter, like, wow, what a conversion. And I had plenty of amazing conversions like that over the years. It was, I wish I had all this stuff on tape, but again, I wasn't recording things back then.
Yeah, I learned from those, from your experience. But you know, sometimes just moving the needle from, like you're saying, from anti-vegan hunter to not anti-vegan, maybe thinking about doing something.
And who knows later on what happens.
Yeah, because someone else might already be an animal lover, but just unaware eating meat, and then moving the needle for them is vegan. But moving the needle for them is there, and maybe there. And so needles move at different rates for different people where they're at, right?
And I know we want instant gratification in our society. And of course, for the victims, we want instant conversions. Sometimes a seed is all that can be planted. So I also don't know over the years how many seeds actually grew, because they were planted in a lot of people, a lot of great lectures where people were like, in fact, there were times I would see people, because I was always at the same school, usually same professors always brought me in during their whole career. I'd see people who came up and they said, man, this is the 3rd time I heard your speech. First time I hated you, 2nd time you started to make sense, and now I get it and I'm going vegan. So sometimes they had to hear me several times before they got it and put their defenses down. And I learned over the years, the people that hated me, that wanted to fight with me, it wasn't me. I used to think sometimes, man, should I change? I'm like, no, everyone else listened. I realized it's them. They walked in that classroom, preconceived notions, already had their mind made up. I'm an idiot, I'm a schmuck, I'm not going to listen to what this guy says. It was never me. In fact, that's what led to my brain melt over the years, because I would get emails, literally back to back. First email. So, wow, you're like Jesus. You're like the second coming of Christ, man. You're Martin Luther King of the animal rights movement. You're like Gandhi. I'm like, oh, that's so, thanks. Next email, you're the fucking devil. I think you're Hitler. You and Hitler don't have much. I'm like, fuck, how could I be Hitler and Jesus all at once? So it can't be me.
I got those too, man. I've taken screenshots in my inbox condemning me and, hailing me a hero in the same, it's...
One day, University of Akron, the first class calls me Timothy McVeigh, the guy that blew up the Oklahoma City building with a bombing. Next class says I'm Gandhi. And I told that class, I said, by the way, thank you. Do you know the first class called me Timothy McVeigh? And they didn't, why? Why would they do that? I said,
Same speech?
What I learned, same speech. So what I learned was, when they lash out at me, I have crumbled their foundations. As much as they didn't want it to happen, I make sense. If you don't rebuild your crumbled foundations, you act like a lunatic. You're Timothy McVeigh, you're fucking Hitler. God says, all that dumb shit that we hear, those are the crumbled foundations. But the good people with the crumbled foundations, they're like, okay, can you help me tomorrow? I really don't know what to buy, because they want to rebuild. I'm going to start over. Thank you. It was draining though. It was draining dealing with these people. Even though it was only 15, 20 talks a year, after 12 and a half years of lecturing on the road, that shit built up. And like at the end, I knew it in 2014. Like, I can't take another confrontation. I don't want another plea. I would tell the professors, do not let your students get out of control, please. If I get out of control, stop me. Don't let it happen. I knew I was winding down.
Yeah, man.
And I used to thrive on a confrontation. And it's funny, like today, nowadays, and I know people aren't going to believe this because I still say things, but I'm dogmatic. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm now view myself as a mediator to some degree. I've been trying to mend fences with a lot of people over the years. I've apologized. Ingrid Newkirk and I made up a couple of years ago. We've been at war for a long time. I just wanted to bury the hatchet because all that infighting I took part in, I wish I could take it back. It never solved anything. I was going to do things my way, and people were going to do things their way, and there was nothing that was going to change it. So why did we scream at each other? For what purpose? Just go do something. Just at least do something, and I'll do my thing, you do your thing, and maybe we can all celebrate in the end when animals are finally free. Yep. But I don't want to fight, and I get a lot of hatred from the movement, and it's bothersome. And I know I say my radical things, but there's a reason if people would just not react so quickly and understand I'm a comedian at heart. So like when I say fuck human rights, George Carlin is my favorite person of all time, and he's not even vegan. He has a skit where he says, I'm tired of children getting too much attention. What about the children? Help the children, save the children, feed the children. You know what I say? Fuck the children. They're getting entirely too much attention. Do you really think Carlin meant fuck the children? He's just being sarcastic and saying, I'm tired of all this attention. So when I say fuck human rights, I understand humans are oppressed. What I'm saying is I'm tired of humans being placed first and animals being placed last. I don't like the setup. I don't like the paradigm anymore. I want animals first, humans last. Same thing, I'm just flipping the script. We all deserve rights, but they've been saying for 29 years to me, we'll get to the animals later, Gary. Well, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of them being pushed aside for humans, especially when I see humans as the oppressors, which they are, demanding life, liberty, and happiness, and refusing to give life, liberty, and happiness to the animals. So let's get to the animals first, then we'll get to the gays and the trans and the blacks and the women and everyone else that needs equal rights on this planet.
I don't really see you as a person walking down the street like just hating on an individual human and say you don't deserve rights. Obviously, you taught me a lot about it's weird, man. You taught me about intersectionality and like all of these.
I used to do it.
Yeah. No,
don't forget, everybody.
In his speech, he's talking about
in my speech. I talk about racism, sexism, heterosexism. My first 1992, before I was vegan, I got a rap about why racism is.
Yeah. I know. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I want animals first. I'm tired of humans first. I'm tired of humans thinking that they're the most special thing on this planet when we're not. You've heard me say this on some shows. We are the most unimportant being on this planet. You take us off the planet, everything gets better. Why the fuck are we so special in everyone's eyes? You take the ants off the planet, the ecosystem collapses. The bees disappear, ecosystem collapses. There are creatures that are important to this planet, and it's not the two-legged one. And I don't say it with glee. It breaks my heart. I'm embarrassed to be a human being. And I'm vegan. And let's not forget, I've always wanted to say this, I'm not going to forget right now. I am like South Park. I make fun of everybody. Don't act like I haven't made fun of vegans before. I do. I make fun of everybody. I make fun of black people, make fun of white people, make fun of gay people and straight people. I am South Park. Everybody gets my wrath. Don't act like I'm just picking on one person. I take a shot at everybody. Stop acting like I'm picking on one group of people. If you go over 29 years of everything I said, you can fill in every category. Every single person got my wrath. Every single group of people got my wrath.
I got it. I understood. Look,
I don't even know what we're fighting about anymore, John. What the fuck? I'm asking people not to rape, steal babies, and murder, and I'm going, why is this person arguing with me?
what people have to realize too is you were at the tail end of a very long, arduous, hard fight, and you had been inside of farms and these places filming and had horrible experiences, and been begging students in classrooms, and you'd seen it all, and you then went online, which is like a cesspool of opinions and thousands of I get thousands of vile hatred. And I was just thinking to myself, like, when you expose these, it's fine doing it to like 100 people in the classroom, right? You might get one or two, but when you start scaling up those assholes, then you're starting to be exposed to everyone. And you're a very responsive person. Like, I remember messaging you. You responded. I was like, dude, he doesn't even know how much dude's responded to me. Like, this doesn't like the guy.
Everyone got a response,
bro. And then I used to go through your comment section, and I just thought, God, he's responding to like he's putting some. And I thought that comment that he left there, that must have taken a lot to write. And he can't go on like this. This is really going to take it out of him. And
I just realized, because they opened up an Instagram account for me, Real Gary Yourofsky, not The Real. The Real is actually me too, but I don't remember my password and I can't get back on, and I don't have the same email. So anyways, I started responding last night to some hateful comments, and I'm like, you know what?
No, man.
I have to let this go, and I just let them fucking make comments and just post, right?
I've been on social media a long time.
That's what I need to do?
Bro,
okay. So I backed off.
Yeah,
I was going to respond again. I'm like, you know what? No.
Please,
I'm not looking.
And it would be better that you don't read them, because there's going to be one. And you're just like, fuck it is. I got time today.
I have to say, I'm glad I read the first few thousand, because they were so loving. And again, I didn't realize so many people were actually listening.
Yeah, man. It's good.
And it's like, I can't believe, I've been vegan for 14 years, 11 years because of you, 10 years because of you, 8 years because of you, 15 years. And I always knew, like, people always had this thing, well, how do you know if people stay vegan? Gary vegans stay vegan. You can tell by the comments, they're all 11 years, 12 years, 14 years, 15 years, because I hit them with the truth. If you come in pussified, as George Carlin would say, those are the people that waver. You come in with the health information. I know it needs to be said at times. I get it. But if you're doing this for health, you'll find a reason to cheat. Very few people stay.
Time, man.
Right?
The ex-vegans
but
of tomorrow.
Ethics stick with you. When you know right from wrong, you ain't changing. Now, there are some former vegans that, and by the way, interesting, maybe, all the years I've been doing this, the people that I despise the most are not hunters and vivisectionists, not meat eaters and owners of meat companies, former vegans. They are the worst of the worst. How dare you know everything and then turn your back? Because now, not only have you turned your back on the victims that you know are there, well, what the hell am I supposed to say now if you know everything? Now you're just a lazy, selfish bastard. Great. I don't know what to do with a lazy, selfish bastard, because I have to walk away.
It's bold, selfish, actually, because
I don't get it. And the worst of the worst of the former vegans are the ones that go out and try to convince others not to be vegan. Like, hey, it's bad enough you're not being vegan. Do you have to fucking go publicize it and tell other people?
I used to think make it my duty to respond to every ex-vegan, like especially with a bigger platform, because I was like, now if you just went off and did your thing, you wouldn't be harming as many animals. But now you're magnifying your harm for animals, and I've got to jump in and step in and respond.
Thanks for making it even harder.
Yeah. Now I'm at the point where like that I feel like you're doing the ex-vegan video for attention. I'm not going to fucking give it to you, because I've got enough attention here for the animals right now that I've taken years and years to garner, and I'm not giving you your shitty little pathetic ex-vegan video the attention you think it's going to get. And it used to be big back in 2016, 2017, these videos used to pop. Now, not so much. And I'm like, fuck you. Good. I'm not mentioning it. So something sparked in you recently. You come back for a certain reason. Do you want to explain what that was?
I came back because of Sasha Farm Animal Sanctuary, sashafarm.org. I've been going there since '96, since I've been vegan. So we're talking just about 30 years. It's a paradise. It's a Garden of Eden. I did a bunch of videos there about 10 years ago. If you go online, punch in Sasha Farm and my name, you can see them. It's a glorious place. It's a place where animals can be themselves. You rarely get to see that, even as a vegan. I realize most vegans actually never get to hang out with the animals that they're saving. So I always encourage vegans and non-vegans to go there. I brought a lot of meat eaters there too, and I would tell them, go ahead, pet that pig. That's your bacon. Go ahead, pet him, look him in the eye. Be like, oh my God, yeah. But the vegans too, man, you should go to your local sanctuary and see these amazing beings that are so full of love, even though they've been abused, so trusting. And sometimes it takes years for them to get that way. And the animals too at Sasha, sometimes it took us a couple years for them to for us to become friends with them. We saved one animal named Bella from Grand Rapids, Michigan. There was a slaughterhouse truck that overturned, and 3 of the cows got away, and we tracked one of them down, Bella. She was furious and mean, rightfully so. We find out later that she was pregnant at the time. She was 7 years old. When we got her back to the farm and found out she was pregnant, I was there at that moment with Erica, with Emily Barwick, Bite Size Vegan, and Monty and Dorothy, and we were all in tears because we looked at her and said, "It's okay, girl. I know why you're mad." She was snorting in her stall, like, "You get to keep your baby this time. I promise. This is yours." When she had that baby, it took us almost, I think, a year to get close to the baby. We just wanted to check her out with the vet, make sure no. I'm like, okay, this is your baby. It took us but it took Bella a couple years to start to come up to us and realize we're not all two-legged devils. But it is such a wonderful paradise, this place. And it's really struggling because one of the owners passed away in 2021, Dorothy. None of the stuff would have been happening if she were still alive. The other owner is demanding that we pay him for the 50 acres that it's on, which I don't understand. If I developed and created this paradise for the last 40 years and I was old and retiring, I would want to pass it on and say, "Hey, Joey, could you do me a favor, man? Can you make sure this place lives on forever? Please take care of it." He's demanding payment, $675,000, which unfortunately is the fair market price for real estate in Manchester, Michigan. So he took $250,000 out of the coffers as a down payment. We still own $425,000. We would be fine if we didn't have to pay this off. Sasha always brings in $250,000 a year. That's what it costs to run the place. Of course, we'd like to up that because we have ideas to expand, but $250,000 is enough to run. But if we don't get out of the hole, we're not going to survive. So I'm asking people, please, I know money's tight, and I'm not a fundraiser. I hate doing this, but this place, it would kill me if this place went under. Please send some money in, $20, $50, $100. Sign up to be a monthly donor, whatever it is. I'm hoping there's a wealthy donor out there that can just cut a big check and save them, pay Monty off so we can be in the clear. But sanctuaries are essential. There's also another horrible thing in this movement right now, that sanctuaries are a waste of money. I don't understand this belief. Out of all the trillions of animals that we've killed, over the thousands of years. The least we can do is help the few thousand that have escaped. And I don't care what it costs to feed a cow for 20 years with hay. I don't give a fuck. He deserves every penny. We kill 1 billion cows on the planet every year. A couple thousand can't be taken care of for the rest of their lives. Go look the cow in the eye and say, I'm sorry, it costs too much for you. I could spend my money better elsewhere. No. And even if education is better, and I'm the one that created the education-based form of activism, of lecturing, of course I get it, and I want people to focus on that. I didn't mean to eliminate everything else along the way. Just make that, so when I started in 2002, the pie chart was like 2% education. I was saying, no, it needs to be 80%, 90%. I didn't say 100%. There's still other things that need to be done. Direct action I brought up. Even if I don't think the media is important, okay, I get the media stuff, whatever it is, fill in the rest, but part of that pie chart has to be sanctuaries, saving them, making sure they have enough money to take care of the animals. So check out those videos that I did with Sasha Farm. You'll giggle and laugh. And they were all freestyles. I was just playing with the animals.
They're iconic videos. They've got a lot of,
it's crazy.
Belly rubs and yeah.
I would just tell Erica, grab the camera, just start the camera, and I'd say, hey, let's go back to the...
You know, like Gary's voice changes when he encounters animals.
I'm a baby talker too. For everyone thinks I'm a terrorist, I'm a radical.
Confess, you're allowed to, me too. My voice changes as soon as I see pigs, as soon as I see dogs, as soon as
everything's a baby.
It's like a subconscious reaction. Oh my God!
Yeah, and that's how I am with the critters, and
that's why you're such a militant force for the animals, because you really do care.
Listen,
so underneath that is love.
I'm not doing this for hits. I'm not doing this for fame and glory. That's why I disappeared for 10 years. You didn't see me begging. I didn't come back. Everyone remember me. Something called me back for Sasha, and then people just started coming out of the woodworks to say, oh my God, Gary, you're back. I'm not doing this for me. It was never about me. And again, I'm dead inside, man. My brain is melted over this. I just want to do what I can for the animals. And right now, Sasha Farm was the main reason that I came back.
What happens if Sasha doesn't get enough money?
I don't want to think about it. I don't know. We're going to have to find other sanctuaries to take them, and they're all struggling too. But don't worry, nothing evil's going to happen to them. I'll make sure of that personally, but it's going to be terrible if we got to load some animals up and drive them to Texas because there's a place over there, or drive them to Florida, wherever. I see the animals are not stupid. They're aware of the evil things we do to them. When they see a truck, they know, oh my God, that's not good to get on a truck with these humans. People never come back. I don't want to stress them out, even though we'd be like, it's okay, we're just going to take it somewhere else. Again, we're too stupid to speak cow and speak chicken to tell them, don't worry. I know it's going to suck for these 18 hours as we drive you to Texas or Florida, but we will take you to a nice place. So we'd have to find other places, or who knows? But listen, I don't even want to think that. Yeah. I'm hoping somebody sees my plea and somebody cuts that check. There are people out there with a lot of money. I wish I had money. In fact, to explain further, if you still think it's about me, I never made money off my activism. I'm a broke activist. It was never about making money. To me, it was about changing people's, lives, changing animal lives, changing people's way of thinking. I never profited off my name, image, or likeness. I never did that. My lectures were free. I had a donor that took care of me, gave me about $64,000 a year, but half was for traveling, half to live. I live a meager life. Honestly, I got a 600 square foot house that I live in, and I love it. I drive a 2012 car. I don't drive fancy cars. I don't like that stuff. I'm a minimalist. I can literally load up everything that I own in a car in 15 minutes and leave. I got a couple boxes in the basement, got my old guitar, and I'm just out. So it was never about me. And for the people out there that are thinking, I still hate Gary for whatever, go ahead. I really don't care. But don't hate Sasha Farm because of me. Sasha Farm doesn't pay me. I get no compensation. So you can still send in a donation and actually say, Gary sucks, he's a fucking dick, but here's $100. Fine. I don't care. Please just help the animals that we all care for. Don't make it about me, make it about the animals. If it was for me, I would understand why you didn't want to give money. Honestly, I gave a lecture in Frankfurt last month as a Sasha Farm fundraiser, and there were people trying to get people not to go. I'm trying to raise money for Sasha Farm. If it was for me, I would understand. Okay, I don't want to give Gary money. Well, don't. The money wasn't for me. I paid my own way to get to Frankfurt. It was an $800 airline ticket. That was out of my pocketbook. So
I don't think anyone can question your, your reasons for doing your activism. I think that would be foolish. That just look like a fool. Obviously, you've never been about money, and even to your own,
just so you know,
I'm
I'm an honest dude. Yeah. Now I wish I did, only because I could help Sasha.
No, that's what I was thinking.
I wish
God, you had an opportunity there. But
why didn't I make money? I could have just said, "Here's the $425,000."
I guess that's a difficult thing because you don't want anyone you don't want that to get in the way of the message. If you're like, well, you had to charge for your speech, well then.
So my speech worked for a lot of reasons real quickly. One of the main reasons was it was free. That was the clincher. When the professor said, okay, so how much is it going to cost? I'm like, nothing. Say yes. Give me the classroom number. I'll be there next week. Oh, hell yeah.
You said the truth should always be free.
It's true.
In one way or another, you have inspired many of the activists of today, like whether they admit that or whatever for their own reasons, that's fine. I mean, you are incredibly, there'll probably be a bit of dramas from just having this interview with you. I'm aware of that.
I want to add one thing. Yeah. My retirement letter has been on my main page of my adapt.org website for 8 years. When people want to bring up something I said about the Palestinians, I apologized 8 years ago. I misspoke and meant to say it was the Hamas leadership that are the crazy fuckers. Okay, you gotta accept the apology I made. I speak so much and say so many things. Sometimes they don't come out right, or sometimes I do make a mistake. I'm not too big to acknowledge that. I'm not for any government, and I put Palestinians and Jews and blacks and women and all the oppressed people in the same category like South Park. I apologize for that. Accept my apology and understand again when I say fuck human rights, I'm doing George Carlin's fuck the children bit. You gotta understand the sarcastic humor when I say I'm tired of the focus being on humans is what I'm saying.
You believe in human rights?
I do, but I believe in animal rights first and foremost. Again, human rights people want to say humans are more important. We'll get to the animals later. All I'm saying is, no, animals are more important. We'll get to the humans later. I'm flipping it on you. Why is it okay for them to say this and diss the animals and me not okay to diss the humans and save the animals? It's the same fucking belief, just I'm switching the places. I want to focus on cows and pigs and chickens. They are the most abused and most oppressed. And something I used to say, which I took back in my retirement letter, but there is a belief that if we destroy hatred at its root, speciesism, I think is the root of all of our hatred, then it's easier to destroy racism, sexism, heterosexism. You're trying to destroy the branches of hatred and you're not getting to the root, which is why they've been going for human rights for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, and they haven't achieved it. Because they're doing it wrong. Gary's right. I'm usually right. Teach people to be nice to a spider and a mouse and a chicken and a turkey. Then when the kid grows up, how can he look to a different person of different size, shape, and color in hatred? I think going animal rights first achieves human rights as well.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Now, I've lost my faith over the years, and in my retirement letter I said I don't believe that anymore. So I'm not necessarily taking it back. I'm just telling you, here, you come see me in 29 years when you've been in the trenches.
You lost faith.
Maybe you'll understand me a little more. Would you understand? I've seen too much. I've been waiting too long.
For things to change, and they haven't.
And I got to tell you, and listen, I get why trans people get their rights, okay? I'm just saying, after the gay rights movement started achieving their rights all over the world, I'm like, good for the gays. Finally now, we're going to focus on the cows and the pigs and the chickens, and then the trans people stepped in. What about it? I'm like, no, not another group of humans. No, and what's next? The hermaphrodites going to come next? And what the fuck is the next group of humans that the animals have to wait for their freedom for? I'm just tired of human first, animals last. Animals first, then humans is all I'm saying. Yes, of course, humans are oppressed and deserve equality.
You do see, it's kind of it's a speciesist phrase, but the canary in the coal mine for oppression to take place is when they start lowering the status of humans to animals, like calling them rats or vermin or like pigs. And the idea is that if those animals were not, you know, if they were raised in value to begin with, you could never justify oppression by lowering the status of a human there. So speciesism is kind of like, you'll see oppressors even to this day comparing groups to animals before they do something horrific to them. And I think I mentioned in my Oxford speech, it's like, I want to change what it means to be treated like an animal. Because when you say, people like to, the human beings like to think, oh, we treat animals so nicely, don't we? Yeah, but when you're treated like an animal, it's not so nice, is it? You know, so it'd be great if we changed what it means to be treated like an animal. So it is all based in that speciesism framework, but it's not going to work 100% of the time for 100% of people, is it?
Well, listen, at the end of the day, everybody knows animals have it worse. I'll give you a good example. When George Floyd was murdered by those scumbag cops, the Black Lives Matter movement said he was treated like a dog in the streets. They killed him like a dog in the streets. Well, can we break this down in the simplest of terms? You had to find somebody, some group that was treated worse than black people are treated by cops. And you went to the animals. You admitted it. They got it the worst, not black people. So again, what you said, we need to free the animals. We need to explain what's going on with the animal kingdom first, and everything that I've been saying. This is why we have to eliminate speciesism. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows that animals have it the worst. But then all of a sudden you ask them to stop killing them, and that's, oh no, that's why they're here.
Stop eating them. Yeah.
But they'll admit to it. And I'm so sick and tired of calling bad humans animal names. That's something I did a video on. Like we call cops pigs. What the fuck kind of pig has ever mistreated a black person like that? What do you mean pigs? No, that's human behavior. Yeah. Stop saying, or some serial killer, oh, he's an animal. He's an animal. That's a fucking human behavior. He's a human. But even humans who want to hate other humans hate animals so much that instead of calling them a human, they want to call them an animal because they don't want to make humans look bad. I'm sorry, brain melt after what I just said. It's just like, what the fuck? We know that's pure human behavior, but we don't even want to face it and look in the mirror and acknowledge it. This is what humans have always done. Killed, raped, destroyed, abused everybody in their path, including the animals.
Animals couldn't think up the evil ways that humans think up to do the most evil things. I mean, that's really like intelligent evil that humans do. Like they think of the most creative ways. Like, you know, like we made a film called Pignorant, and more gas chambers are around today than when Hitler, his gas chambers were shut down. And it's just crazy that there are more gas chambers on Earth today, and we think we're more ethical than back then.
I can't believe the evil things we've come up with to oppress animals. It's literally horror movie shit.
Yeah.
And for people that think that we exaggerate, there's no need to exaggerate. When I find out the things that they do, I'm like, my God, how could you even come up with that?
Yeah.
How could you come up with the fucking shit they come up with? Who's the fucking first asshole that came up with, hey, I want to do some burn research. Let's light this dog or this pig on fire and see what happens to his skin. Did that even cross your mind? Wouldn't you just wait for a burn victim and then go to the hospital and work on him and say, hey, what do you think we should do here? I don't know, let's do this, let's see how it works. And let's literally try to save this burn victim instead of lighting an innocent being on fire and then trying to work on that being.
Well, they view them as property and expendable, and they, you know, so that's what it is.
Vivisection does some of the most horrific things that anyone could imagine.
Vile torture, isn't it? Your tag your it statement on Facebook. It's the last. It was more the last paragraph that really hit home, you know. And I remember reading it 2017. I dropped some tears. I was like, shit. In 2017, when Gary retired, he wrote his retirement letter, tag your it. Going to try to read it without getting all teary, because this really stuck with me. And I honestly believe this is one of the driving forces of why I stepped it up. So this is the last paragraph of his retirement speech. It says, a huge, massive shout out to those who fight for animal liberation only and have always used my activism as a tool to further the cause. Because it's now your job to find people who are thirsting for knowledge, who aren't comfortably numb with all the cruelty, and edify them. If everyone did their part and converted 10, 100, 1,000 or more, a vegan world would be in reach. Just speak for the animals like you would want to be spoken for if it was you in their position. and always follow your heart when it comes to activism. Stop thinking of ideas when you can put those ideas into action. And please stop having meetings and conferences, because you'll only end up discussing those meetings at the next conference before scheduling another conference to discuss the previous meetings, before having another discussion to debate the meetings scheduled for the next conference, and so on. Talking, don't talk, do. He says, in my prime, I was a man of action who lived by the adage that if you wanted something done right, then you actually had to do it and do it yourself. You should live by that adage too. Put those tears, all that anger, put those tears, all that anger, and all that knowledge into action. You'd be amazed with the results. Unfortunately, you discover that enlightenment is bittersweet. Seeing the truth, knowing the truth, and living the truth is wonderful. But realizing how evil our family, friends, and species are is maddening. Just keep opening the eyes of as many people as you can for as long as you can, so one day you too can say, tag, you're it, to a bunch of people you've influenced. And so one day you too can say, tag, you're it, to a bunch of people you've influenced. And I can say that now, definitely. So, you know, how does it feel seeing your tag, you're it speech manifesting in so many activists? Like,
it's wild. It's shocking. When I got out to Germany and all these people, I'm a vegan because of you. I'm an activist because of you. Wow. And it makes me proud. I'm thrilled. I'm glad I could influence people. The mark of a good teacher. I hope my students become more powerful and smarter than me, more effective. I really do. Some insults over the years were, I heard Joey speak, and I think Joey's a better speaker than you. I heard Earthling Ed speak, and he's much better than you. I hope they are. Well, how is this an insult? I hope Joey fucking liberates the world. I hope fucking Earthling Ed does it too. I hope Paul, you act like I'd be mad I wasn't me. I'd be the first one to go fucking put him up on my shoulders. Again, the weird things that people have said to me that aren't even insulting. There's been enough insults, but those things, I'm like, that's not an insult. I hope somebody I influenced went out and fucking liberated everybody. I'm like, oh, fine, you did it. I couldn't do it. Thank you. I did what I could do.
You literally stepped down, tag, you're it. That's what you wanted.
I know.
we do this for the animals.
He's better. He's better.
And
like, I'm not competing to see who's
that's
better.
That's nonsense anyway. No one's holding a candle to I mean, I say this often. I was like, fuck, still no one's holding a candle, man. That candle's a long way away. So, yeah, so you've influenced a lot of people. It's insane. But at the end of the day, like, this isn't about me or Gary or Ed or anyone. This is about the animals, right? Because one day I'm going to say something you don't like. And one day you're going to think, fuck Joey, right?
So weird too.
And I don't want you to throw the pigs into a gas chamber because of that and go back to eating animals or think, oh, you do what you do for the animals. You're not vegan for me. You're not vegan for any other activist, and you're not an activist for me. And I'm not an activist for Gary. And he wouldn't want me to be. You know, I'm not Gary's cheerleader. He's not my cheerleader. We do this for the chickens, no matter if everyone fucking hates us. And that's why we do what we do. And that's what will keep people in the movement for as long as possible, for as hard as possible.
There were some people on the streets that were actually not changing, but were nice. And yesterday, somebody said, I respect you. I said, I don't want your respect. I want you to respect the animals. But I said, and you want to shake? I said, I don't want to shake your hand. I don't want your respect. Dude, look at the screen. I want you to respect them.
Exactly.
And I wish people would understand that. We're not looking, don't throw accolades our way.
No.
It's nice to be loved. It's nice that people say, hey man, I really dug your shit, but okay, don't be vegan for me. Be vegan for the cows and pigs. I'm glad that I opened your eyes to veganism. Listen to me. I'll put you on the right path, and then go ahead. Run with it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
I pay my homage to you no matter what. I mean, we don't agree on every single topic, but with animals, we agree, right?
By the way, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think I told you this before.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, if I can get this off my chest.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with me 100% of the time. Why would you? How could you? Who do you agree with 100% of the time? I'm like, everything this person ever said, bullshit. You don't agree with your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend 100% of the time. That's a lie. If you tell me so, you're a liar, or they're lying to you. It's okay to mostly agree with somebody. So you know what? I don't like Gary's position on humans right now. But man, he's one hell of an animal rights activist. That guy, his speech, say that. It's okay, okay? Don't have to cancel me or cancel anyone else. It's not that I went out and raped somebody and dropped a fucking bomb on somebody. I have opinions, and they're my opinions. Why can't I have them? Are you kidding me? I have to have your opinions? You ask me how I feel about something, I'm going to tell you how I feel about something. And there's a lot of issues we probably disagree with. There's pro-gun, anti-gun, pro-choice, pro-life, and there's a million things we can go, I kind of lean this way on that. But the most essential thing, veganism, animal liberation, if we agree on that, that should be good enough, okay? That should be, or mention that. And this guy, you might not like his position where humans are now. But man, that animal rights fucking shit is so tight.
Yeah.
And this is my gift to the world. Honestly, yeah, I'll admit it. I got nothing else to give. Don't even listen to my human rights shit, whatever. I'm not a human rights activist. I'm an animal rights activist. Listen to the gift that was fucking given to me that I could pass on to everybody else. The passion that was put inside of me, the words that came to me, the thoughts that came to me, the shit that I came up with every night that I couldn't sleep. How are you going to answer this? I'm like, okay, wait till people hear this fucking shit. Or when I was smoking down, there was a group of straight edgers that were mad at me years ago. I was online and I finished 18 lectures in 5 days. I came home, I put something on Facebook. It's 2 in the morning. I'm only here for 36 hours before I hit the road again. I'm gonna smoke down, eat some tofu, and hit the sack. Wake up in the morning, there's 500 comments from straight edgers. Oh my God, Gary smokes weed, what the fuck? And I'm like, do you guys like my speeches? Yeah, we love your speeches. Do you like all the things that I say? Yeah. I was fucking high when I wrote most of them. Well, stop it. What are you upset about that I want to smoke a joint at the end of a long day? It's so silly to me that the straight edgers came at me too, and then the intersectionalists came at me. It's like, stop screaming. And by the way, stop screaming and critiquing and being an armchair quarterback. Go fucking do something. Go scream at somebody else. And again, I admit I was wrong. I did some infighting. I quarreled with the biggest and the best of them too, okay? Me and Ingrid went at it. Me and Paul Watson went at it. Me and Gary Franciola went at it. Me and Peters. I went with the fucking big guns. It was stupid. It was wrong. It didn't accomplish anything. The best thing that ever happened was I went and did my shit. And Paul Watson went and did his shit. And everybody went and did their fucking shit and accomplished something. So stop screaming at other activists. Go scream at a non-activist. Go scream at your fucking mom or your dad that you let off the hook, by the way. Go scream at your brother and sister that you let off the hook. I noticed that Gary can't say one thing wrong and all of a sudden the radical hardcore vegan that's converted hundreds of thousands of people, get rid of them, but mommy and daddy can fucking hang around with a fucking fridge full of dead animals, and that's okay. You can show up for Christmas and Thanksgiving and watch them eat a murdered turkey. They get off the hook, but
I still get her a present on her birthday, right? You know, so and the amount of violence that you have stopped from happening, you know, that potential violence. Like, yes, the population has grown, but how much more would, you know, people? If you're worried about what someone has said, right? No matter how angry it makes you, you have to look at their actions, right? You haven't gone out and killed anyone. What you have done is prevented lots and lots of violence has been stopped because you've existed, right? You said something that fucking I don't like some of the shit you said. Just straight up honest. We don't agree on lots of things. Animals, yes, great. But you haven't gone out and done something horrible.
They're statements.
So how can you be cancelled for life over something said? Like I watched some human rights activists and they eat oppressed victims, but I'm like, that shit you said there on race was tight. That was great. Like, you know, I don't cancel them over that unless of course they've had an opportunity and have failed that opportunity. Then I'll, you know.
If I can clarify another statement that people freak out about, it's the rape comment. Okay. The whole paragraph, if you read it, which nobody has, was sometimes I think the most effective method of destroying speciesism is for each uncaring human to live the life of an animal, then maybe they'll understand the horror. And I listed 5 horrible things that I wanted to happen to people. People only focus on the one sentence. The first thing I said was, I hope sons shoot their fathers accidentally on hunting excursions. No one ever screamed about that. So is that okay? That sons shoot their fathers? I guess it's okay. And then I said, I hope matadors and I hope rodeo cowboys and circus trainers get stomped to death by the animals they're beating up. No one ever said Gary was wrong for that, but hey, isn't that promoting the same type of violence people are upset with? After I made the woman in a fur coat rape comment, I said a man in a fur coat should be raped so badly he becomes disemboweled. No one ever brought up the poor guy that I said should be disemboweled from the rape. And then I said, I hope vivisectionists catch diseases. Why do people focus on the one line? And if you read the whole thing, sometimes I think the most effective method. Sometimes. Yeah, I think that. Sorry for telling you sometimes how I feel. I still believe sometimes people need to live the life of a tortured animal for them to stop it. Because love conquering hate, it's a cute notion. It's adorable. I don't dismiss it. All my speeches were love, trying to destroy hate. Look at them. It worked a lot, but it didn't work 100% of the time. So now what? So for the other people is what I'm saying. If a compassionate speech on veganism doesn't work and earthlings doesn't work, well, now what? Well, maybe they need to live the life of a fucking tortured animal. Maybe that'll work. How do you like it now? Oh, you get it now. That's all I was saying, and it was a theory. Never put it into practice.
But the crazy thing is, when people say this stuff all the time, if someone hurts their dog, if someone hurts their child, if someone...
that's the bullshit.
And this is what you were saying, like, and it makes so much sense. Like, you go into any comment section online where someone's kicking a dog, and they will be like, oh, well, I'll kick his head until he's dead. And the most horrible...
Shit. I never get let off the hook, but how about this one? Every time a child molester gets busted and sent to prison, at least in America, the phrase is, I can't wait till Bubba gets a hold of him. Well, what do you think Bubba's going to do to him? Counsel him? Or fuck him in the ass? Stop it. You are wishing rape on somebody. So you don't even disagree with me. You just don't think I should wish rape on somebody in a fur coat. Only a child molester deserves it. Well, I disagree. And the mink disagree, and the foxes who are anally electrocuted and raped disagree, anal electrocutions. The chinchillas that are vaginally electrocuted disagree. The victims disagree. So spare me the whole, like, the high and mighty shit. Oh, I never wish anything horrible. What? What kind of, who does it? Who are you? Jesus? Gandhi? Stop it. You're not the only, you can't possibly walk through life, see all the evil things that are going on and never wish something horrible on somebody. And that's all I did was wish it. My God, Gary's wish. And don't get mad at me because I'm good at being mean. I was trying to be mean. I succeeded. What was I going to say? I hope a woman in a fur coat runs into Brad Pitt one night and Brad Pitt sweeps her off her feet and they run away and get married together. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, so if they have full knowledge of what happens in the fur industry, then they buy the fur coat. Like, that's when I think, like, you know, I would start thinking, yeah, karma's probably...
Oh, I wanted to say, listen, I think rapists should be executed. Now, a lot more people are going to be mad at me for supporting capital punishment. So just so you know, if a woman in a fur coat got raped, I would think the rapist should be tortured before he should be executed. That's how evil I think rape is. But again, I was trying to wish evil on somebody. Whether they knew or not knew, I wished it. You were wearing a dead animal on your body. I find it hard to believe. You might not know the technique. You might be right. But you'd sure know that there were dead animals sitting on your fucking back, man. And it's just obscene to me in this day and age. This is why I'm so frustrated and hopeless this day and age. Like, there are things that are so obvious. I can't believe they haven't been eradicated yet. Dog racing, animal testing, fur. How could this, in 29 years of my activism career, how could we have not abolished? These are so superfluous and excessive, and not that everything else isn't, but I get how everything else is entrenched. I know why meat, cheese, milk, and eggs is going to be a tough one. I get that. Why would dog racing be tough? Such a small fucking segment of our society engages in this. In fact, in the gambling world, I know this because my dad was was a gambler, and he was at the horse track every night. The only people in the whole gambling world, from sports and casinos, the bottom of the list are the horse bettors, and then the dog bettors are below the horse bettors. They're even looked at as by other gamblers as the lowest form of gamblers. So I don't even understand how dog racing isn't abolished. And for anyone wondering why, I mean, we kill tens of thousands of greyhounds every year once they stop winning, and the whole industry is just obscene and excessive. Or rodeos. I once got Ron Kagan, the Detroit Zoo director, who I befriended over the years. He said to me, I can't believe a rodeo is such a blatant act of cruelty that it exists. And it's on fucking ESPN sometimes, for crying out loud. I mean, it's on TV, and they're tying the straps, these bucking straps behind the horses and the bulls. That's why they're bucking. They're trying to get the damn strap off their fucking sensitive waist area. This is a blatant act of tying up the legs of these baby animals for what accomplishment? What did you do that was so great? Oh wow, you tackled a baby cow. Wow, so impressed. What are you gonna do? Go fucking rape a child next?
And that's visually happening in front of people.
It's right
it's not
there.
like
So
a magic trick with the cheese or whatever. Like,
The problem is that humans have victimized animals to such a degree that they aren't even considered victims. They aren't even considered at all. They're nothing. They don't count. They don't matter. They're commodities like TV sets and cell phones. We've actually turned animals into inanimate objects, sandwiches and shoes. It is the greatest magic trick ever performed.
See my frustration and 29 years in this movement. And I don't want to destroy anyone else's hope. There's a lot of newbies out there. Hey, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, come see me in 29 years and tell me you might not feel the same way.
so does that mean you don't think there's any hope for animals?
No, I don't.
Like never? You used to say no injustice can last forever.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what, I see one avenue. I would like it to be for ethical reasons. I don't see an ethical pathway to success. The cell meat industry. The only hope the animals have is cell meat. And it's not because the public is necessarily going to be jumping all over it. And for anyone in the public, oh, I'm not eating franken meat. You're eating franken meat. You fucking kidding me? When I was a kid, turkeys were 10 to 12 pounds. Now they're fucking 18 to 28 pounds. They've been genetically modified. There are no animals having sex anymore. It's all animal husbandry. This is why there are animal husbandry classes in colleges. Every animal you eat has been genetically modified. So this is not any more franken meat than the fucking meat you're eating. But once the industry realizes the money they're going to save, right now, they got to pay a farmer to have a field full of corn or wheat, oats, and soy. You got to pay somebody to cut down the corn, wheat, oats, and soy, bag it up. You got to take all that feed and take it over to the animals at another place that to feed the cows and the pigs and the chickens over here. And then you got to bring a slaughterhouse truck over here. You got to pay for the truck. You got to pay for the gas for the truck. You got to pay the driver to drive the slaughterhouse truck. You got to load the animals up. You got to pay those people to load the animals up on the slaughterhouse truck. Bring them to the slaughterhouse. You got to hang them upside down. You got to pay people at the slaughterhouse to cut these animals up into pieces. Then when you cut them up into pieces, you got to take those pieces and take them to a processing plant. And then you got to fucking cut them into more pieces. Then you got to take them to the packaging plant, package them up there, and then you got to put them on the fucking trucks and send them to the restaurants and the grocery stores. Well, when they realize there's one big building, in this room, we're going to grow meat. No central nervous system, no head, no brain, nothing. We're just going to grow flesh. Listen, the animals want it to be ethical, but they also just don't want to be tortured anymore. So I'll take it, and I'm sure they will too, if that's the way we're going to solve this. So we grow the meat here, we bring it to the next room, chop it up in the next room, wrap it up right there, and put them on the trucks. I can't believe the meat, dairy, and egg people haven't seen the profits that they're going to get when they embrace this. Why they're fighting this is beyond me. This is, and listen, animal slavery happens, as we said, biggest business. Well, they want money, more money. Get rid of the trucks, get rid of the fields, get rid of the fucking people cutting down, all that. This is the avenue. So Yeah, cell meat could save 98% of all abused and tortured animals on this planet. So I do support that, and for the few vegans that are not, stop it. You're being ridiculous. I will take the biopsy. It's a biopsy. We get biopsies. I never minded if animals got the same treatment that we got. In fact, I thought that was the whole point of this. Life, liberty, and happiness for all of us. So if I can go to the doctor, you can go to the doctor and say, well, let's do a biopsy. Okay, all right. There's a little prick. Oh, this is not going to kill me.
Prick to end the animal holocaust. Yeah. It's like...
but I will personally, Gary Yourofsky, I will go take the first biopsy because all you need is one.
One cell, isn't it? They can theoretically do
and then they grow from the cell
forever.
One biopsy. Cow's fine, chicken is fine, pig is fine. So I do see hope there. If that happens, yeah, obviously, maybe, I would be completely wrong. So maybe I should take the lack of hope comment back. The other things could be abolished. Again, I don't know why dog racing, horse racing, vivisection still exist in circuses and rodeos, especially when you can have a circus without animals, which they do. And I do see maybe a future of zoos where it's virtual reality, which is what it should be. If you're trying to show animals in their natural habitat, well, it's not happening on 10 Mile and Woodward Avenue in Royal Oak, Michigan, which is where the Detroit Zoo is, okay? It's not. There's one little spot. That's not a natural habitat for them. You should bring people into an IMAX theater and take me through the jungles of Africa and the jungles of Asia and show me animals in their natural habitat and giraffes and rhinos and hippos, and it'd be way more entertaining than watching them be miserable in a 100-foot by 100-foot enclosed area.
So it sounds like you've lost hope in human beings as ethical beings.
Yes.
They're infinitely
Maybe that's how I should
unethical, infinitely immoral, and infinitely ignorant and stupid for the most part. And the only thing that the only hope animals have is in those super intelligent humans who help propel technology to make animal products obsolete, right?
That would be wonderful.
That's the only hope animals have.
And yes, I think we should support those companies wholeheartedly.
If it's not grown off a sentient being, then it becomes
And by the way,
vegan, right?
I wouldn't do it because I'm in a new stage of my vegan eating after 29 years. I eat whole foods anyways. I don't want mock meat, fake meat, whatever. So I think everybody should get there anyways. So if you still don't want to eat it because it's got animal cells, I understand. I don't either. Good. Don't eat it. There's 98% of the fucking population needs to eat it.
It's not about this movement's not about us. Last time I thought
it wasn't them. And if this eliminates pain and suffering, which is my objection, your objection, everyone's objection, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, deal. I would make a deal with Tyson and Smithfield right now. Deal. You guys are going to go this avenue. I will promote you guys.
They got to know.
You can put my face in your goddamn package. Maybe that's how I can make money.
I will too.
Gary says, buy Smithfield, sell pig meat. I will do it.
Yeah, same here. Well, if it means at the end, then yeah, they've got to be onto it. They're probably already preparing, maybe. If today was your last day on Earth, what would be your final plea to humanity?
Well, first of all, I'm here to speak on behalf of the most oppressed, most abused, most murdered group of beings that has ever existed, the animals. I speak against speciesism in the same way Nelson Mandela spoke against racism, in the same way Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks spoke against the evils of racism. And when we teach children that the Jewish Holocaust was evil, but then we send animals to their death, to the slaughterhouses in the same extermination trucks that sent Jews to their death, we're committing a gross error. Leave the animals alone. Watch them from a distance, admire them, share some true love with them. Only get involved if they need help.
I'm saying if you went into a slaughterhouse, they're the violent people, they're the terrorists, and I had guns drawn, and they had knives against the pigs' throats, and I said, hey, you drop your weapons now. You're not killing them anymore. It's over. That's justifiable. I'm not the violent one. Those are my essays.
Be ethical. Place yourself in the victim's position when you're analyzing an issue, and you can find the proper answer and the proper result every single time. Just put yourself in their position. And we've learned to kill and torture each other effectively because we practiced on the animals first. You can find out the proper treatment.
So please reevaluate your belief systems. Ask yourself, why is all this violence against animals being permitted? For what reasons? And we hope you'll have the same revelation that we did, that nonviolence through veganism, nonviolence through animal liberation is the only ethical and acceptable way to live on this planet.
Love. Love a little more.
Okay, brother.
Because I'll tell you what, as long as I live, no one will be ever able to explain to me the violent, vicious, disgusting behavior that humans are capable of.
The goat and Carbstrong. I've been here longer than a mastodon and a megalodon. If I ever get you in the octagon, I'm gonna put so many hands on you, be like you fucking with the Octomom.
Yes.
3 uppercuts, a broke jaw, you can't eat for 30 days, act like it's Ramadan. I'ma curse your mom, find you at Comic-Con, nerd. I'ma break your elbows, you gonna need Tommy John.
Yes.
That's the surgery that they get for elbows. Everyone keeps saying, what's Tommy John? I'm like, it's the elbow surgery.